we are still in our festive mood as we are celebrating our 1 year anniversary for the whole month. So, I mean, let's just get that in our minds already. Yes, we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can join us via those social media platforms. And if you're in the comfort of your home, we're coming to you live from the studios of Clock TV. So just check for Clock TV on your TV or on Go TV channel 184. Now, coming up, today's conversations are also going to be very, very interesting, as on the lifestyle segment, we're going to be learning how to eat right on a budget. And then the main discussion for today is going to be by our businessman, Mr. Clement Yabankwe, and his guest. They're going to be helping us to understand fully and into detail the 24-hour economy. So I'm very sure we are all interested in that and how best we can utilize this for our businesses. But before the show goes on, let's take our motivational quotes for today. It's a brand new week, and as we're getting bigger every day, we make sure to inspire our viewers and ourselves. And today's quote says, "Your journey has molded you for the greater good, and it was exactly what you needed to be. Don't think you have lost time. Your journey has molded you for the greater good, and it was exactly what it needed to be. Don't think you have lost time." And this is by Asha Tyson. Now, this quote speaks directly to anyone who has ever questioned the value of their experiences or felt left behind or behind in life. It offers us a deep assurance or reassurance that every twist, every struggle, every season of waiting or wandering has a purpose. Now, life rarely unfolds in a straight line, as we've all come to learn these days. This quote acknowledges the winding roads, the setbacks, the heartbreaks, the mistakes, and even the periods of silence. They are not wasted. They are all part of the shaping and refining and even the becoming. Tyson invites us to release the burden of regret and comparison. We often measure ourselves against timelines, our own societies, and in doing so, we even feel that we've lost time or missed our moment. Now, this quote reframes that narrative. You have not lost time. You have been gaining wisdom, resilience, compassion, and depth. All of it has been preparation. It is a call to our own journey, and own it, and not in spite of the hard parts, but because of the hard parts. You have been molded, not broken, for something greater. And when you step into what's next, you'll find out you are exactly where you're meant to be, and it's exactly what you need. In short, this message is a message of redemption, purpose, and peace. Your life is unfolding on time. Now, our elders usually tell us that we are all in our own lanes. You know, we are running our race in our own track, and there's no need to compare. Somebody may be ahead of you in your own perception or what you think is ahead of you, or somebody may be behind you, but in the end, we are all in our own lanes. Our lives are also unfolding in each person's own time. So never feel the need to compare your life to the next person. Each heartbreak, each setback is all preparing you for your next step. And this quote even goes to us here at Clock TV, as you know, we are celebrating our 1 year. Of course, it's been 1 year full of a bit of everything, and it has shaped us into who we are today. Who we were a year ago today is definitely different from who we are now, and we've learned a lot. We've had our hearts broken. We've experienced joy. We've experienced some suffering, some setbacks, but we came out stronger. And of course, moving ahead too, we'll keep going stronger and stronger. I hope this quote has inspired you. And if it has, send us a comment via our WhatsApp number or via our Facebook or YouTube live stream. We would like to hear from you. Next is our online and print review with my co-host. We'll be right back.
In a world where neutrality in the civil service is paramount, Ghana finds itself at a crossroad. CLOSAG says that a certain action should be taken, but government has to act on the basis of law. So we inquired as to what the premise for that demand is.
They say if you wish to broadcast or otherwise manifest your political allegiance or run political office, step away from the services. This is Supreme Court talking. It's not CLOSAG speaking or Isaac Wampado speaking. This is the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court judgment on the landmark case of CLOSAG versus the Attorney General has set the stage for a profound transformation. Introducing Resetting the Civil Service. Tune in to be part of this change, because a better civil service means a better Ghana.
I find it refreshing always when I remind myself of the profound statement by the eminent civil servant, Lieutenant Anankwa of blessed memory, to the effect that it is the perfection of the civil servant that will move this country forward, and not the politician.
Provide a robust platform for in-depth discussions surrounding employment relations, the rights of workers, the quest for industrial harmony, and evolving landscape of work. Walatu Walasa seeks to bring to bear for Walatu Walasa.
Are you a young
You're welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show, and if you're just tuning in, we're about to have our online print review. So if you have any opinions, any suggestions, any comments, you can send them to our WhatsApp number that will be displayed onto your screens, or to our YouTube or Facebook live stream, and I will read them here as well. Now, I'm doing this with my co-hosts, and we have Miriam Abnadidi of the Lifestyle segment, and Nanayao Asari also. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning.
Hello, Yara. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
It's a chilly morning for me, and yeah.
You look like somebody who's cold.
I'm very cold. I'm very cold. Yeah, speaking about cold, I think it is right that I bring up this information from the Ghana Meteorological Agency. And they are saying that Ghanaians should expect this kind of weather till the end of August. And so I think we didn't mention that during the motivational segment. So I think we can highlight that as well, so that our viewers can stay prepared and ready for the weather. It is a weather that is going to show pepper to the singles. We, the singles.
Please, it is also good for watering plants. It's good for agric. Leave us alone.
Yeah, apparently the coldest month in Ghana historically has always been August.
Oh,
so,
okay.
If you're feeling cold, brace yourself, because you've not yet seen anything yet. You're going to see better shade.
Single woman, sorry.
Leave us alone. Leave us alone. But this also goes to speak to the fact that there will be more rains, and we should do well to clean our environment, the pollution aspect of the floods, and also to make sure to be at very safe vantage points as well. And try to just keep safe. Yes, that's the best thing we can say. If you are living in a waterlogged area, please start finding a way to relocate soon, because I mean the floods are always merciless. But
and also don't forget to get close to your partner.
Leave this single life alone.
Get close to your
partner
alone this time.
But Mimi, why are you so much advocating for this particular? We don't want to put you on the spot today. So
it's okay.
We'll just let you.
What is okay?
Yes,
if you don't take care, we'll change the segment. We'll make it Miriam's relationship issues.
Our bosses are watching.
Then please. Single people, just get your jackets. Those who have their partners, let them enjoy their lives. We have our pullover and our hoodie. We'll be fine. We'll drink hot tea too. So what is trending? What's happening? Entertainment, bring us something.
A lot. But let me start with a sad news that hit Ghana yesterday, and also in Parliament, as the Member of Parliament for Akwetia, Ernest Yaokumi, was reported dead yesterday, and he was representing the New Patriotic Party in the Akwetia constituency. And he passed away shortly after, an illness, and the family members have not yet disclosed what actually caused his death. But this is a sad news to all of us, to Ghanaians, to his constituents, and also the party as well. And so yes, that is what is trending.
On that particular story, as you said, rightly said, the cause of death is not yet known, but we cannot talk about that without talking about what's actually the series of events that have actually led preceding his demise. And before that, he met Sami Oku, who is also the MP for the Koforidua area, all in the eastern region. And then there's this particular issue that's been ongoing in court concerning his let's say he announced himself as the winner, or the Electoral Commission actually declared him the winner of the election, the past election. So he was MP for Akwetia, but then the election, there was a petition to the High Court, and the High Court declared the opposition, not the opposition per se, but the High Court declared that he had not won it yet, or there was no declaration of a winner. And shortly after that, he went to, when they were swearing in MPs, he was actually there. He was sworn in. And then they said he actually, the court actually declared that act as an act of contempt, because there was an injunction placed on the election. But then again, there was a legal response from his team that usually after that, the Electoral Commission has to bring a report before the High Court can actually stand on. So that particular thing was actually declared null and void. And just recently, he's been declared the actual winner of the election. And then unfortunately, this has happened. He's passed on. So
it's so sad.
The cause of death remains unknown, but commiserations to his family, commiserations to the people of Akwetia, and
the New Patriotic Party.
And the New Patriotic Party as well. Samuel Uku actually said he came to him and was shouting, "Commander, Commander, I am tired, I am tired." These are some of the statements that he's made, and it's a really sad day for Ghana. NDC, MPP, everyone is actually sad. All political parties. We've lost a statesman.
And that even goes to tell us that we are all one. At the end of the day, you are not going to your grave with anything. And I'm speaking with regards to what is happening at Ablekuma North right now, when they have no MP at the moment, and one party is saying they are ready for the runoff. The other party is also saying they are not ready. They are not going to allow, the Electoral Commission to declare a winner and all that. I mean, we are one people. We should always think about life after here. Where do we go to? Are we going with our results? Are we going with our seats? Are we going with the members in our constituency?
Positions.
No. So we should always learn to let things go. If you're not the winner, just accept it and move on. I know it's difficult, but there's always a way.
Yeah. So we're hoping for more news. Let's just pray that Ghanaians don't do what they usually do and start making all kinds of allegations about the cause of his death, considering the strife in the MPP, Koko's out there. So, yes, what else is going on? I know you are itching to talk about your beloved.
Let's Nana
to what we are widely anticipating. There's the Ghana Tourism Authority has also come out to say that Ghana significantly enjoyed a boost in tourism. When you realize that Ghana earned a revenue of 4.8 billion United States dollars from international visitors and tourists in 2024. And that is a significant boost from, in 2023, it was 3.8 billion. So you realize that the country is shifting, is growing when it comes to investment in tourism. And this is something good. And kudos to ourselves, because we make the country very, should I say, it's so cosmopolitan that it's very welcoming for everyone. The peace that we hold. And imagine that in 2024, which was an election year, to be able to rack up this amount of money, to increase revenue, it shows how peaceful our people are. And this is a feather in the cap of all Ghanaians. So doing this and how the country, this is one way of maybe earning, balancing our trade, earning foreign currencies and all that. So it's a very good one. Everyone in the tourism industry is doing well, but we can do better with our tourist facilities and all that. So this is a feather in the cap of Ghanaians.
All right.
And to our most anticipated trending news, I think we have to talk about it because it's our very own.
Your very own.
Our very own evangelist Mama Pat is in the news again. And, over the weekend, we heard that she's been sentenced to 15 years in jail following some legal cases like fraudulent activities and also involving in public fraud, let me put it that way. Now, she has been in the news again yesterday as an Accra High Court summoned her, let me mention her name, Evangelist Patricia Esiedua, popularly known as Nana Agrada, to reappear for a final ruling in an ongoing legal battle involving Prophet Emmanuel Apia Enim, also known as Osofo Biblical. So this is like something that happened early this year, where Agrada was circulating naked videos of this man on social media, and this is a different case from what she's been sentenced, for. And we also have a pending issue which has to do with she and then Empress Gifty, the gospel musician, about defamation. It's a defamation lawsuit that is also pending, and so Agrada happens to be in the news, and it looks like she's going to be in the news for a very, very, very long time. And her lawyers are also appealing for the 15-year sentence because they are saying she's a mother of 5. Her last born is even 10 years. And she's also the founder and owner of a church. She has members. People look up to her. And so they are appealing that they should reduce her sentence, you know, consider her as a woman and then reduce her sentence. That's what her people, her lawyers are saying. So we are hoping that, you know, something positive comes out from this, in as much as it hurts, but sometimes that's why we are Ghanaians. We always sympathize with others. Even when a thief is caught, you see there are people that do not support, you know, those harsh actions that are being labeled against them. And so I'm just saying that as Ghanaians, we are also sympathizing with her, that, and we are appealing that the sentence is being reduced. I know you don't like the idea, but for me, from where I sit as a woman.
I mean, we shouldn't just, what's the word, try to use as a woman to paint or whitewash her. Because she has put lots of lives in very dire situations. Her conduct on social media is not one that is anything to write home about. And she is well aware she's a mother of 5. She's well aware she heads a church. She's more of a shepherd to certain people who attend her church. So we can't just say that, okay, the court should try to understand she's a mother, she's a pastor. She knew she was all of that and was conducting herself in this way.
Before Agrada comes out to react to a situation, then someone has done something to her.
Yes, but
it was recently we heard of her, you know, in those kind of manner because of what happened between her and Gifty.
Okay, fine. Let's put the beef aside.
Agrada has been an entertainer.
The fraudulent activities. Look at the number of people that have come out to cry about being defrauded of money. The Sikagari thing that they talk about.
So with that and the people that have come out, for me, I may sound harsh, but I don't have sympathy for people who go to fetish priests or fetish priestesses to see they want to double their money. You go with an intent of greed. So if you go there and you are defrauded, I have little or no sympathy for you.
For that, but then it is multifaceted.
The corporate herself, that's also actually perpetrating that crime, must also be brought to book.
But as you say that it is out of greed, it may not necessarily cover, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation, because there are certain people who genuinely thought, okay, this is a fetish thing, you know, the way we believe in our African traditional religion. So let me finish. There are certain people that genuinely did not have much, and they thought, okay, I mean, I've been going to church, nothing's happening. Let's see if they conform or multiply. So aside the greed, there are people who genuinely thought it would work to improve their situation.
For you to actually believe that it could work, then that means you have some sort of greed.
And you should know that it's a risk.
I'm saying that we all know how to make money in this country.
Yes,
we don't make money going to fetish priests.
And I'm saying this because there are people who are living in such dire situations where they are desperate. So that aside, the greedy people are there. That is notwithstanding. But these people who you realize that, I say, maybe they've tried everything. There are people out there, we've heard of these things where they try this, it doesn't work. They try this, it doesn't work. So, okay, right now, let me resort to spiritual solutions. You know, those are the people I want to sympathize with. These people are desperate.
And you know, these are the same people that when they go and they tell you that go and bring their head or the tongue of someone, these people are desperate enough to actually go and do that.
So that's what I'm talking about.
For me, I have
the desperation has been taken advantage of.
I have zero sympathy for people who actually go to fetish priests, priestesses to go and engage in these money doubling schemes.
Yeah, I also don't also sympathize with them because this is somebody who was once a priestess. And
even after she went to prison, people went back to church, to her church.
So she made a statement in her video that say bisaska ewo nyamifia, you don't give. but you give. And so that was the same strategy she used.
Yes, but
in the church.
Her actions were still not justified. So let us not make it look like she was right.
It's a sign to Ghanaians to be very smart.
Because we can actually juxtapose this with the guys who, you know, indulge in the internet fraud, where they are speaking with all kinds of older people. And some of the scams they use is something like, send me this amount of money and then I will double it for you. I'm a prince of some something, and then all of that. So even those people, I think when they arrested some of these people that were involved in these cases some time ago, we were talking about the fact that you have robbed certain people of their retirement funds, and these are people that, yes, I don't know, for one reason or another, they were gullible enough. But are you trying to say that the fact that they've been robbed of such money is still not something to be empathizing with?
That is different.
I'm saying we can just suppose it, but it's still fraud.
Romance scams and all these things are different because you tend to psychologically prey on unsuspecting individuals. You tend to let them fall in love with you and all that. But this is someone who is saying that I'm a fetishist. I'm not forcing you to.
I mean, romance scam wasn't forced either.
But it's manipulated.
Yes, all of it is manipulated because you're saying that I'm a priest, I can do this for you, I will do. That is the appeal. So you're there thinking that, okay, hey, this one that she was a fetish priestess and God has called her. Maybe the anointing is even hotter because you know those.
It's high time.
Yes, so Ghanaians are being gullible, but I'm talking about people.
It's high time. There is no magic money anyway. Money will not come from anywhere if you don't work for it. We have to be smart.
Sikadro, we saw just a few years ago. We saw a 15-year-old and then I think a 17-year-old
who went to kill
another young boy just because of money rituals. So if you're actually sort of having sympathy on these people who can go to an extent of going to a fetish priestess to double their money,
because then their potential.
Yeah, because if you are going to seek equity, who comes to seek equity must come with clean hands. If you are going to the courts, there are different bases and principles for consideration, and one of the principles of consideration is that consideration must be legal. And what you are talking about is the basis for what you are finding out legal. That is different. But you, the culprit, also, you, the person, also saying that I am there and I'm coming to double your money, I can do it. That one, you also have to be caught and then you have to be arrested.
Yeah.
So now that they've arrested her, fine. But for me, I'm saying again that I have zero sympathy for people who can go to an extent of going to a fetish priestess to go and seek for money doubling schemes and money.
She was a priestess. She became a pastor. Now a prisoner.
You know, you also spoke about the fact that she's a mother. And this, would you like if you heard that your mother is circulating somebody's nude photos?
No.
And it is illegal. It's actually a crime in the country, right? I think there's even revenge pornography where you and your partner, all of that. So I think, yes, maybe justice should be tempered with mercy, but only to an extent, because she proudly even went on interviews and spoke about some of the activities that she's been undertaking and, you know, openly talking about the fact that Ghanaians are gullible. So this is not somebody who was not in their right mind or something. So I think the courts will, you know, deal with this issue the best they can.
According to reports, when she was actually caught, and then the judgment was about to be pronounced, she mentioned that she was pregnant.
Apparently, that was also not true.
That was not true. So I'm sure she may have maybe received a lighter sentence, but she lied to an open court. She was actually then matched the police hospital.
Isn't that perjury or something?
As a close, you know, follower of Evangelist Mama Pat,
Did you say follower?
Yeah.
Follower.
Oh,
not a follower as in, I mean, I follow her on social media.
Right.
I'm a fan from afar. I will not allow you to, you know, talk about our mother like that on set because she didn't say she was pregnant. It is part of the legal process. Before a woman is being sentenced, you
get checked.
Yes.
Okay.
No, but she actually mentioned that she was pregnant.
Oh, no.
And then
see, after the segment, we'll have the discussion out there. Let's go to the newspapers.
Police hospital for a live test, and then when he came back, the results came negative.
Isn't she past menopause? Anyway, you have your digitalized newspaper, so let's get into that quickly.
I thought Anaya was going to talk about the sporting activity that happened at the stadium.
Okay, so briefly, then we go to
because we saw the president over there.
Yes, it's part of our newspaper item.
Okay. So let's go quickly into that. Yeah. So what do you have for us in your newspapers?
Right. So I have today's daily graphic with me, and on the front page, we have Koko board adopts performance management to transform regulatory function, and we also have government pays $349.5 million second Eurobond. We also have police grabs suspected killer of Queen Mother. Do you remember the Queen Mother who was shot during a deba or something?
Yeah.
That was trending on social media. The police has arrested the suspected killer. And also lastly, we have E&P secures $100 million loan for major mining deal. And
E&P, that's engineers and planners. And just to touch on it, it's actually a very big milestone because this is one of the deals that it's called the Black Volta, the Black Volta Mining Company, and it's now the first Ghanaian 100% owned mining company. Wow. You know, we have Goldfields, we have all the others, but then they are not 100% Ghanaian. But this particular one is 100% Ghanaian, and it's headed by Ibrahim Mahama. He is spearheading this particular effort, and it's thought to be increasing Ghana's gold production locally by 3%, and which is going to be in excess of over 140,000 ounces of gold. So this is actually a very good one. Ghana's gold production is going to be boosted by a further 3%, and we know what this is going to transcend to. This is going to transcend to the Precious Mining Minerals Company Limited. And then also, now that we are backing our currency against gold, it's going to strengthen our currency to an international market and further reduce the value of the dollar to the cedi. So,
and do you have some investments in gold investments? Because the way you are so
I'm interested in this because I'll not lie. When the gold coins came out from Bank of Ghana, I've been interested in it. So I did a little bit of something there. So
being owned by Ghanaians doesn't mean it's private.
It's 100%. Ghanaian owned, so maybe the government has a faction in there, and then So,
all right. So, what do you also have for us on your newspaper?
So, my newspaper, I have the graphic sports, and I'll start with Thomas Partey. He's set for court on August 2025, and you know Thomas Partey, as we recently saw, had been charged with 5 counts of rape, and then. So you know, it's been 5 counts. It's been something that's been ongoing from 3 particular women, and sexual misconduct. It's been something that's been ongoing for about 3 years. But then he was cleared of all the charges initially, and now the Met Police, the Metropolitan Police in the United Kingdom, have actually raised the case again. Especially now that his contract just ended with us now, just about some 3 days after his contract ended with us now. So it's raising concerns as to how legitimate this particular claims are. But he will be set for court, and he's come out to say that these things happen to African footballers especially, but he is ready to clear his name. Recently, there was a case by Benjamin Mendy, who also suffered a similar plight, but after years and years of going through turmoil and losing his best years as a professional footballer, it came out that all the allegations against him were false. So we look forward to hearing what this particular one holds. And West Ham United has also rejected Spurs' initial bid of 50 million euros for Mohamed Kudus. Mohamed Kudus is playing for West Ham United, and London and Europa League champions called Tottenham Hotspurs. They actually have been setting sights on Mohamed Kudus for quite a while. And it looks as though this will be a world record fee for a Ghanaian player. A record fee for a Ghanaian player. That is any amount that is going to be used to buy Mohamed Kudus. The West Ham are looking for around 85 million euros. But Spurs initially bid for 50 million euros. And then this is something that they are going to reject. And just what we were talking about, fabulous comeback, Koko has silenced Accra Hearts of Oak. And they came from behind in the President's Cup to beat Accra Hearts of Oak by 2-1. The game started, and Hamza Issa scored the first goal for Accra Hearts of Oak. They were leading for quite a while. But then just the lapse in concentration made Kotoko score 2 goals in 2 minutes. And that was how come Hearts of Oak were put to the sword. And then they lost
2 goals in 2 minutes.
It was quite a colorful one. You know, the President's Cup is something that has been brought up, and then we play this at the end of the season on the Republic Day, just to match keen Ghanaian interest. When you look at the stadium and the numbers that were there, it was packed to the rafters. Right. It was very full. Energy, camaraderie, superstars, players, entertainers, and the likes. Shatawale was also called on there, and he came to perform very magically, wowed the crowd. John Mahama was there throughout the 90 minutes. I was also there in awarding the medals to the players and all that. So it's quite an interesting one. Kotoko 2, Hearts of Oak 1. And it's been quite a while since Accra Hearts of Oak beat Kotoko. So it's not that it's no news, but we're hoping that at least Accra Hearts of Oak, they actually put up a fight. Some people are blaming their coach for all that, but I'm sure the sports segment will delve deeper into that. This is what's making the rounds.
On that note, special request, producer, please, I would like Shatawale's shoulder for the lifestyle segment, just to celebrate with the Kotoko fans.
So yes, let's go into the online story. So the very first one says Mahama launched no fees, no stress policy. 15,000 first-year tertiary students receive fee payments. So President John Dramani Mahama has stated that 15,000 first-year students in public tertiary institutions have been notified that their admission fees have been covered under the newly launched no fees, no stress policy. Now, during the official launch of this initiative in Koforidia on Friday, July 4, 2025, the President expressed that the policy is designed to eliminate financial barriers that stop qualified students from enrolling in public universities, technical universities, nursing training colleges, and colleges of education. Now, this is not just a policy announcement, President Mahama said. It is already working. Students who have deferred their dreams are now registering because their fees have been paid. Now, we have a video with sound, and so let's see the reaction of the students. As we can see, the students are pretty excited and dancing in one corner.
Well, we are happy about this initiative. I mean, anything that will put money in the pockets of students to make them comfortable, to take them back to the classroom, not to defer their courses, is something that we need to commend President John Dramani Mahama for. And he and his administration have always had education in mind. Like, they've always wanted to, impact education in a positive way. And so that was why in 2015, he wanted to expand our tertiary and also secondary school education by building more schools and other things. But, I saw this story in the news, and my question has to do with the fact that does access to tertiary education match up with the unemployment rate or job readiness we have in the country at the moment? Because this is going to open doors for more people to get into our tertiary education.
Yeah, but what about
what happens to them after school?
So I think this is a very, very good question. But another area that we have actually kept our minds to is for people to finish school and then go and look for work, rather than for people to finish school and then trying to create avenues for employment themselves. So if we sort of tune our mind but it's not all the graduates that are going to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But if you just tune our minds to these particular areas where, let's say, we are making sure that the graduates and all that will be able to be equipped with skills. I actually went to Ashesi University for their last graduation because my younger brother graduated there. And when you look at the quality of graduates and you look at how ready they are, and some of them have already, during their school, they give them project works to actually sort of build their own businesses, start their own businesses, and sometimes even free for the community. And then they sort of find a way to make sure that it's now turned into profit-making ventures. And these are the areas and lines that we should actually do. But to answer your question again, then we look at the plans by the government when it comes to a 24-hour economy system. And 24-hour economy, we've seen that, and now this labor export programs and all that, we see that this particular government, especially having a youth employment agency, having a youth development ministry and all that, is aimed at sort of making sure that at least when you come within a short period, there are jobs to do. Not only when you're politically inclined, but even when you just come out as a normal graduate.
Well, I also think the courses need to be reviewed, because for the longest time, this is not an indictment on the University of Ghana though, but we hear that usually such a university with the courses they have, it is easier to rather venture into academia than actual professional, job opportunities. And so with the instances of TVET and things like that, I think these things can be incorporated into the tertiary institutions, because, just like even with the SHSs, where there are certain schools that have more name, so to speak, or a more revered name as opposed to the others. If schools, maybe let's say prestigious schools, yes, the premier University of Ghana, if now they have more TVET courses also in there, then we can have students not feeling like, oh, I don't want to go to maybe ATU because technical university used to be a poly. Ghanaians have that mentality. So I think these things should be incorporated into, so tech, maybe if there are courses like that, maybe they can be given more information about it, educate people, so that just like our president is very interested in agriculture and things, the agricultural value chain, as we've been learning over the months, it's wide, and there are so many avenues of job creations that can be created there. So if they are able to do courses that would lead them into that, then, I mean, we'll move forward.
And I also want to touch on the fact that when you go to the university, at the end of your stay at the university, you are tasked to write a project work.
Oh, it's optional.
Yes. Okay, for my school, it's compulsory. You have to write a project work. And over the years, I've been asking myself, is it that they want to test our writing skills, they want to know our intellect, or they really want to know how productive we can be or creative we can be? Because if you go to our libraries,
there are so many things that the government can actually even, employ into some of their policies, but it's just there. Gathering dust.
It's so sad. It's so sad. It hurts me a lot, because if I tell you what I did for my project work,
you got your first class, didn't you?
Of course.
So you're here.
No, it's not about the class. I'm here. Assuming I didn't get a job, I would have been in the house with my first class.
And you every time you wake up, you say, God, look at the first class. Give me a job.
So it's high time, they visited our project works and then made use of them.
And then I think also there should be more career fairs at the JHS, SHS levels, so that before you get to the university, you know what you want to do. Because a lot of us, I want to go to Legon. Any course they give me, I'll take.
Political science.
Please. Okay, for me, yes, the political science did work out. But when the students are given, okay, if you do political science, these are the areas you can move into. Do you want this? Is this where you see yourself in the next 10, 15 years? Then if you do the TVET courses, okay, you want to establish so and so, so they know. Then all of these things.
But then there's also, not to cut you, but there's also the role that the family also plays in this. That is, the educational systems can only do much for you, but most of the time you spend majority of your time after school and all that at home. So building entrepreneurial spirits and all that. Some parents want their children to be in a certain particular, follow a certain career path, maybe by then.
Yeah, then they could also be employed into the career fairs. They should come and learn and know that it's not only lawyer that is the way.
I have this friend
success.
whose parents wanted him to be a doctor. Like, so he did science, he did all those things. But when you got to the university, he switched. He's now doing computer science or something.
So when the parents are also there for the career fairs, you know, we used to have open day and meet the parents. If they are there for these things where they are made to understand that, okay, if your child does not become a doctor and he wants to be a computer scientist, he can go into tech, you know, software engineering and make more money just
I think the examples you are giving are very friendly to the parents.
Yes.
For instance, if your child wants to be a musician, and
please, Ghana music industry.
Not even only that, you know, but there are a lot of people that are making it.
Right, Nana.
If your child wants to be a footballer, if your child wants to be, what are some of the pathways in guiding them and shaping them? Because we have a lot of graduates, but then they are frustrated graduates because they just went to do what their parents
asked them to do. Yeah, that's very true.
And then they've set aside their dreams, their aspirations, and all that.
So sad.
We shouldn't neglect that aspect when it comes to unemployment.
Yeah, and then even speaking on that, the fact that the way our system is shaped, everybody needs, or most people need, multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
So fine, you want to be a musician, but do you have something that you can fall back on if you don't blow? 15 years, you're still an underground rapper. What happens, you know?
Yeah.
So I think all these things, I mean,
and it's good
the policy
we are
is
talking about it now, and so I don't think we are going to repeat what happened. You know, if you start having babies, I don't think you're going to force your child to be a doctor. Mine will start learning how to braid at a very young.
You've already started forcing her into beauty. Let her choose. Right, we have a few comments here, then we go to the next story quickly. So this one says, as regards to the money laundering of Mama Pat, if there is a law against such, she will have to face it. But my advice to the public is that the only way to get money and expand your finances is to have a running business. Put in hard work, stay patiently consistent in it. Even in our churches today, pastors telling you to sow different kinds of seeds is also a fraudulent act because God is not a money doubler. I am Charles from Dodoa, Greater Accra region.
Well, Charles,
but he says he will multiply our...
Charles, I beg to differ when it comes to that, you know. The kind of advertisements, when you look at Agrade's advertisements.
No, if I leave you, we won't finish the next story. Let me read the next comment, then we take it up. So this one says, good morning, I'm Eben from Kwabenya. We have a listening ear, President John Dramani Mahama, who listens. Mr. President, thank you for assuring the contractors to go back to sites to work because their monies will be paid in the shortest possible time. We are grateful, Mr. President. We are grateful, Mr. President. Regards to TDC boss, Courts, McAfee, Mr. Akwesi Mensah of PSC Tema Shipyard, and Honorable MC Agbo of Ga East.
It looks like you're doing someone's advert for the person.
They just write it.
Because we didn't talk about contractors going back to work and all that. So
I think
it looks like this is a political party post.
Yeah, I think so. Well, okay, now let's go to the last story, then we can wrap up. So, CUTS cuts, I think, urges the government to scrap fees for online BEC and WASI and SHS placement. Okay, BEC, WASI results in SHS placements. So, cuts, which is Consumer Advocacy Group International think tanks, yes, Accra, is calling for the immediate government action to remove the fees that students are required to pay to access their basic education certificate examination, West African Senior High School certificate examination results, and SHS placement online. In a statement, Mr. Apia Kusi Adomakon, the West African Director for CUTS, criticized the existing practice of requiring students to buy scratch cards between 15 Ghana cedis and 25 Ghana cedis, labeling it as unjustifiable, exploitative, and nearly extortionate.
Finally, someone has said this.
Yeah.
It's been something I've always, questioned. I mean, why should I pay money after paying exam fees, paying school fees, paying all the fees, and then pay extra money to access my own results? Why?
So in this is something that has to be really talked about, and it's a revenue generation system for WAEC and the examination council, and a means to pay the teachers and all those who mark the WAEC examinations. But the means of collecting that particular monies and all that is unjustifiable. For instance, if you are taking monies for registration, because every school that actually goes to IBC registers, I don't see how you don't find a way or a system to, the number of students that are writing, because you register each student. Place it within the school's registration account processes, so that when they are paying you, they add that to the amount that they are supposed to pay you. And then you even get your money earlier. Because there's not all the time that every student finishes and then they write VZ and then they go and buy the scratch cards. Some students finish writing and then they don't even check their results.
Not at all.
They already know what they wrote.
So there's this. You should actually embed it in the initial cost of registration, so that we don't have the burden. Because if you are paying,
but if it's embedded, is it not back to the same thing in just a different way?
Yeah, but don't worry. If you are paying 55 cedis today for your exam, it is not as painful as paying 40 cedis today and then going tomorrow again when your result is ready and going to pay 15 cedis. But
in the end, then because they are saying they should scrap it. So if I'm paying my 40 cedis already, I don't need to. There should just be a system where
I'm
maybe
saying that it's a revenue generation.
Yes,
scheme
but that revenue, what
them.
Exactly does it go into? That's one thing we
that's
should
why I
look
was saying
at
that I'm sure they use some. I'm not quite certain, but when you look at the expenses of WAEC, when it comes to the I'm sure some of us have marked some of the papers.
I have.
They pay you based on the number of papers that you marked. When it comes to Section A, Section B, and all those things, they pay you based on some of these things. So I'm sure it's a way that they sort of gather some revenue and then distribute to the teachers and the people that mark. So if you know that this is going to be done in one way or the other, every year you pay people that mark. Instead of just leaving it bare like that, you should inculcate. Let's say if you are charging 15 cedis, then you charge, let's say, 10 cedis, and you embed it into the initial cost of registering for the exam. So that when you are done, you know that once you register for the exam, you know that you are done. Because there's no other exam that...
I understand you, but then this defeats what CATS is saying. They don't want the students to have to pay anything. You should just be able to access it. But the question now is
but CATS is not also saying that they shouldn't stop paying
they're
for
saying
registration fees.
No, they're saying they shouldn't pay for the scratch cards. Students should have to be able to access this. And you're saying that they should rather embed it there. So it's basically...
the reason why I'm saying that is that...
shifting where they pay for the card.
Exactly. The reason why I'm saying this is that, for instance, a lot of people buy pure water. A lot of people buy, how do you call it? Bottled water. Even at the time that we used to buy airtime, scratch cards and all that. And they were paying for it freely. But little did you know that you were paying VAT on all, you pay VAT on all these items. So I'm just saying that if it is embedded, you don't even feel the burden of you paying that particular amount in it. So it's just another, because there's no other examination that you take. And then when you finish writing, just to view your results, you have to
that's even what I wanted to talk about. Looking at digital equity,
results.
You know, those in the rural areas, how are they going to access these
Internet
things?
cafe.
I understand. How many internet cafes do we
They
have
have
in
to
our
travel
rural
miles
areas?
and miles.
So, you know,
And
with
who is
secondary
selling
school
these
education,
scratch cards
with
for them?
WASI, for instance, after writing your WASI, some people go to their schools to take their results and other things. Why don't we do the BEC like that? Go to your schools for your results, and then the WASI with the scratch card, because by then it is assumed that we are working. Like after SHS, you are doing something. You can. I don't know if it makes sense.
I understand, but I'm just saying that the burden should be taken away from the student, the final students that's going to check their this thing, and it should be actually be placed on the schools in registering. So you embed it, find a way. For instance, if you say, BEC registration has gone up by 2%, nobody is going to actually tag you. And if you say it's gone up by 2%, but we are not, we've scratched the scratch cards, we've scrapped the scratch cards, buying and all those things. You realize that it makes more sense than
then with what you're saying, how if if they embed it in the registration fees, how then are the students going to access? Because apparently it's the scratch cards that they are going to use. Are they going to be now given scratch cards to keep and then access it? So,
no.
you know, when you provide
for instance,
a situation, you need a solution for it.
When you are registering, you register with your staff ID. You register, and then there are a lot of things that you can actually do. When it comes to the means by which you access your results and all that, there are 1,001 ways. There is digitalization. There is a way that you can actually even go, and then there are a lot of means to access your own results.
Yeah. Right.
I think I have to
agree. You agree with
I agree with Nana, because at the end of the day, we can't neglect the fact that we are in debt. Like, we need money to pay our teachers and other things, and so we can't take it off like
completely.
That. Yeah,
right.
Okay, so we have a few comments here. This one says, "Good morning, Koko Digest. I miss everyone here. Kudos, interesting discussions." This is Isaac from Awoshi. Then, "Hello, Koko ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and congratulations to everyone. Mahama has indeed done well. Wow, 15,000 students. God bless him." This is Eric Sampa in Adenta. Then we have, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This issue is very serious. It isn't affordable. The poor can't buy a result checker for 25 CDs. Like, the media must keep talking about this issue." And this is Ajwa in Axim. Thank you so much for your comments. And all too soon, this segment has ended. And I wish we could continue talking about these interesting topics, but we need to move to the next segment. So Miriam and her guest will be here shortly to... Please give me
I think my guest is... Who is my guest? Miriam and Yara Awuno. We have something exciting coming your way, so you don't have to miss it.
All right.
Stay with us.
Thank you. So we will be right back.
What is going through my system?
Benedict, you're going through a lot. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I know how you're feeling already, but let's get straight into the conversation. Yeah, assuming you had 20 Ghana cedis this morning, what are you going to buy? What are you going to eat? Like, what food are you going to buy with the 20 Ghana cedis?
20 Ghana cedis this morning. I think porridge.
Not for breakfast, though. I mean, the whole day.
Lunch. The whole day. Oh, 20 cedis. Don't do this. A grown adult. If it's a child, 20 cedis will be enough. So, but
linking it to our topic, we are saying eating healthy on a budget. So I just want to know, let's say you have 20 cedis. Okay, I know you spend more than that. 50 cedis, 100 cedis.
No, yeah, let's go with 100.
100 cedis a day?
No, not a day, but if it is...
Yeah, let's go with 30 cedis.
30 cedis. Okay, I beg 50 is fine.
50 is fine.
Yeah, I like meat.
Walk us through the kind of food you are going to be buying today in the day.
Well, considering the fact that this morning has consumed a lot of energy, you want to buy something that would fuel you better. So I'll probably go in for wachi, rice and beans put together, add some egg, some meat to it. And then if it's a safe place that I trust, then I would also get the vegetables in addition. And I think there may be a nice, bottle of coconut water to...
Benedict, let me come to you. You are a man. I know what men do. Have you ever had to, skip a healthy meal just because maybe if it was too expensive?
Yes. Yes.
What meal was that?
Yes. Probably eating breakfast. Yes. Breakfast is very expensive.
I know, right? Yeah. Salad alone.
Yes. So I would rather skip breakfast and then do it lunch heavy. Then I'm through with the day. Yeah.
Okay. Yara, let me start the conversation with you. The conversation itself. When we talk about eating healthy, what's your understanding?
Well, eating healthy has more to do with the quality of the food than the quantity. So, like we learned in school, a balanced diet. So we have a portion of carbohydrates, we have a portion of vitamins, we have a portion of proteins, and then, of course, your water. So a healthy meal should have all of these components in it. And yes, it's not necessarily about a lot of gobe with maybe half a lunka of gari in it just to fill your stomach. No.
So Benedict, I like the way you're staring at her.
Yeah, I think
you disagree with her.
Yeah, I think she's trying to throw a shot at me. I mean, what is healthier than gobe?
I said half a lunka of gari. That is not healthy.
Who eats gobe
because you want
half a lunka gari?
Because
I feel like
concrete.
I agree with her to a certain level. I mean, eating healthy doesn't have to do with the quantity. It's more of the quality. But then I mean, in our field or where we find ourselves in this country and all that, if you want to eat healthy, you also need to eat, like, the quantity is also important, because going through the daily activity, sometimes you need more than quality to sustain you throughout the day. Yes, and that is where my gobe comes in.
I like how honest you are being this morning. You are representing the boys. The boys,
of course, they'll be very proud of me. I'll eat the quality probably in the morning. I mean, but honestly, I'll skip it. But then let's look at sometimes. So I'll eat quality. I'll take it in the morning. But that is just maybe for like an hour or two, and then that is where we face the day. The main show, the main food. So from 9 a.m. going, we start prepping for gobe, or maybe wachi.
So you eat gobe that early, like 9 a.m.
I eat fufu very early.
Wow.
By 7 a.m.
How will you be productive in the country?
Yeah, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., kokonte, fufu, banku.
Wow.
Yeah, there is a joint just around.
But it's okay. We are not here to advertise. But Yara, let me come to you. What makes a meal, balanced when we're talking about diet? Because we are educating our viewers this morning. It's still the lifestyle segment, and so they are learning from us. What would you say, in your own understanding, makes a food balanced?
Well, like I said earlier, every meal should have the basic nutrients that it should give you, or it should be from each of the food groups. And so a bit of carbohydrates, or yes, some carbohydrates, some vitamins, some protein, and then the secondary food groups that we have, fats and oils and all of that. So a bit of each, but based on where we find ourselves, you know, in this jurisdiction or in this part of the world, we tend to have more of our foods leaning towards the carbohydrates. So we have yam, cassava, rice and things like that. So you see that our staple foods are predominantly carbohydrates. Look at kinky, you know. It's more to have a balanced diet in our part of the world. It means that you're going to incorporate more of the protein and the vegetables.
It's a privilege.
And yes, it's like I say, it is a privilege, but sometimes, you know, if you want to eat healthy, it means that, because sometimes you see somebody buying kinky and just 1 spoon of pepper to go down with all of that kinky, that is not balanced. So, you know, you should have a good amount of stew or pepper, a good amount of your protein, whether it's fish, meat, sausages, or eggs, so that when you eat that meal, everything plays its role rather than it being disproportionate.
Okay, let me come to Benedict as our man, you know, our honest man. So what are some of the healthy tips, I mean, smart ways that people can eat healthy in a budgeted way? Like,
okay, so one thing we must not neglect is fruits. Fruits play a very vital role in our lives.
I'm surprised you are talking about fruits.
Oh yeah, I take fruits a lot. And you may not see me.
Assuming I don't have money, like my last 30 Ghana cedis, I should go and buy fruits.
You can still incorporate it. You can still add it to your meal. I mean, you get something light in the morning. In the afternoon, you eat heavy, or between morning and afternoon. You can just get you can just get orange, you can just get banana, you can just get pineapple, or maybe some watermelons. Just between that space of morning and afternoon, just take it to maybe hold you down till you get to the afternoon.
You know,
then you.
the problem she has with the fruits is that she wants the kind of fruits where it's like a whole salad bowl to eat. But you know, under normal circumstances, that is not right. You see, they really say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. An apple a day is enough for you. You don't need to eat 4 apples just to show I'm living right. You know, even our watermelon sellers, they sell them in slices. I think 5 to 10 cedis. That should be enough for you. 1 full mango, depending on the size, may even be too much for you if you want to check the calorie benefits and all of that. So, and even with a banana, I mean, some of us like bananas and we want to eat a whole bunch, but it's not exactly needed. Your body does not need all of that. So 3-4 fingers, you're good to go. So you can still eat, right? Just you don't need to eat like you're a king. All of that will kill you faster.
What matters is like she said, is the quality. And when we are thinking about the quality, let's not think about you need to eat a lot of it to gain what you want to gain. Coming from my side, I work out, so sometimes I need to eat a lot. I need to eat heavy because of what I do. But then sometimes you can eat smart to cover a lot of things. You need, sometimes you need sugar, glucose. You need it to when it comes to lifting things, the strength part of it. You don't have to eat a lot to get that sugar. There's some food around. You just get them. Smaller parts of it, you are good to go.
You look very built. So, walk us through the kind of food like you eat for breakfast. Let's say in a week, breakfast, dominant food, lunch, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So my breakfast, I skip it mostly. It is wrong.
Is it because you don't have money or just living on a budget?
I'm living on a budget.
Okay.
I'm living on a budget, but then I've divided my eating to suit what
so
I do.
the formation is 011, right?
Yeah, 011. So in the morning I barely eat anything. Once in a while I just take Koko or some watches, some light one. I feel like when I eat in the morning, I go hungry earlier. And then in the afternoon I balance myself with some gobe. If not gobe, I'll eat some kinky. If not kinky, my wachi or banku. And when I'm eating, I factor my period of training in it. I want to eat in such a way that I won't eat again until I train, and after training, I get to eat again.
Okay.
Some people may not agree with me because they feel like, oh, you want to lose weight, why are you eating? Sometimes eating helps you lose weight.
So are you losing weight or you're building muscle?
I'm actually staying alive. Yeah, I'm
That's
actually
a very good answer.
I'm actually staying alive. Yeah. So I eat right after training. If it's late in the night,
What
I
do
don't.
you eat? What
so,
exactly do you eat?
so
Yara, I'll
in
come
the
to
afternoon,
you on that
in the
because you're
afternoon.
very chubby. You look chubby, so
Please,
we want to
genetics.
know.
I beg
In
you.
the afternoon, my gobe, it doesn't pass me by. Pass me not. My wache, it doesn't.
This is like the fourth time you're mentioning waches. I was expecting waches.
Yeah, I don't take soupy foods because of what I do. I might get hurt.
Okay.
But then afterwards, God bless me. Afterwards, if there is banku, I'll eat it. If there is fufu, I'll eat it. But sometimes, if it's late in the night, I just have my kinky, blended, mashed kinky, and then with a lot of milk. Sometimes I don't add sugar, but then there is banana. Banana has sugar.
Yeah.
When you blend
The
it,
kinky itself will turn into
So you blend
glucose.
kenke with banana
Yeah.
and milk.
yeah.
Guys,
Then I just think
we
it's
are
enough.
still here on the Koko Digest morning show, having our lifestyle conversation. I'm doing this with Benedict Nketia Kwarteng, who is telling me that he blends banana with kenke and milk.
And yogurt.
And
So
It's
Yara,
actually
Yara, let me come to you. Benedict looks, built, and he's saying all these things like kenke, banana, milk,
but
yogurt.
for him, I
And
think
you
I want
look-
him to clarify whether, with the working out, there are people who work out to lose weight, and there are people who work out to build muscle
Muscles,
and things.
yeah.
The things he's eating and working
I'm
out, this is
surprised.
beyond staying alive.
I'm
So
saying
are you trying to bulk up? Because
Yeah.
if, with my size, if I follow him and his workout routine, are we sure I will lose some weight?
No.
So I think if you can clarify that for us.
the reason why I said that I'm staying alive is the fact that what I do doesn't warrant me bulking. It's supposed to make me lose weight.
Okay.
And then I eat.
Okay,
I
so
eat like
plus
I'm
one
gaining
minus
weight.
one.
So yeah,
okay,
so
so you
it's
just want
just
to be
it's just
healthy.
feeling
Yeah.
I just want to be
Okay.
healthy. That's
So
it.
Yara, let us know what you also eat.
Well,
You don't exercise often, right?
Not at all.
please, I want to leave the set. I will not do it. Well, there are times where I'm more careful about my diet. So one thing I've learned so far with managing my size is that eating right also means eating at the right times. So unlike Benedict, who skips breakfast, if I am taking breakfast, I make sure to take it within a certain time. So between 6 and 8 a.m., I should have had my breakfast. So maybe breakfast could be something, maybe porridge oats, then with some 2 eggs. Because maybe I may be trying to lose weight, I would reduce the processed carbs. So if I used to eat a full tea bread, I'll probably try to eat half or a quarter and then manage that. Then between 10 and 11 a.m., that's like brunch time.
Yeah.
If you are feeling a little snacky, you get maybe some nuts or some dried fruit, and then or even fruit itself, just something small. Then around between 12 and 2 p.m., you should have had lunch.
Yeah.
And so the lunch can be like the wache I mentioned. So with that, too, I try to keep my portions a little less because, you're trying to lose weight. You're also trying to reduce your eating capacity so that you don't go overboard. Then after that, too, maybe you can get a snack, maybe the coconut water or another fruit. So maybe if I had watermelon earlier, I can have an apple, and then or even the coconut. Then in the evening too, that is one thing I want to talk about. The evening to between 6 and 8, you should have had your dinner.
Okay.
And then if you are somebody who's trying to lose weight, after that time, you'll be feeling peckish in the beginning because you're used to eating some bread and egg around 10 p.m. or Indomie. But you have to try your best not to indulge in such activities. So you just eat something more healthy, but try to reduce that. So I don't eat after 7 p.m. I don't take anything.
Okay, so we are about to wrap up. But let me ask you, between natural foods and then processed foods, which one would you go for? Which one do you think is healthy?
Natural foods are much healthier. Processed foods, especially the processed sugars and carbohydrates, tend to make us gain more weight.
Okay.
Especially with the sugars and then even the refined carbohydrates. So most of the pastries are things that tend to derail whatever weight loss journey you are on. So what I would advise is that, you can adopt the 80-20 rule where you have 20% of all of that in your diet. So it's not like you're cutting it out completely because, temptations will arise. So every now and then you can enjoy a meat pie or some bread. But you can even with the bread, you can opt for the more healthier whole grain bread, which is more expensive. So honestly, I would rather you eat less of it, way less, and then veer on towards the more natural foods.
I think we would have to get an expert health practitioner to talk to us about a dietitian or something to talk to us. But Benedict, lastly, let me also ask you, between going to the market, our local markets, and then supermarkets, which one would you choose?
I would actually prefer going to the local market.
Local markets? Yeah. Why? Are you not a man? Are you not shy?
Shy of what?
I don't know.
Look, I'm not shy to go to the market. I actually love it when I go to the market. That's where you get to feel our mummies very well. Because they are all surprised. And you get some kind of treatment. Yeah, you get some kind of treatment.
I wanted to say that they overly price the goods for men.
Sometimes they do.
No, they actually underprice it though.
No, they overly do it. They do, but when they realize you have that bargaining power, like you are able to bargain with them, they are surprised, and that is where they tend to relate very well with you. If you're a gentleman, really go through a lot. But I enjoy the local markets more.
Jaira, lastly, what about you? Local markets and then supermarkets?
Soft life, baby. The local markets are usually too crowded and smell bad. Actually. But based on your pockets, you know where you go. So I think I like a balance of it because the supermarkets also have certain fruits and vegetables that we don't usually see on the open market. So if I want to incorporate some of those things into my food, then I will go. And why would you go and buy meat in a supermarket when there's abattoir at Medina, please? So a bit of both. It's a bit of both. Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you too.
Okay, so my name is Miriam Abinadede. I did this conversation, Eating Right on a Budget, with Yaira Awuno and also Benedict Nketia Kwate. It's a full team. So we are still here going to do the birthday segment and also the sports segment as well. Please stay with us. We'll be back.
I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday.
Right, so let's start with our first birthday celebrant. Who is our first birthday celebrant in the month of July? Okay, so we have Francis. A happy birthday to you, Francis. May your day be as amazing as you are and the year ahead bring you success, happiness, and everything your heart desires. Cheers to you. This is from Loretta. Thank you so much. We also have this, a happy birthday, Magdalene, wishing you a day filled with joy, laughter, and all the love your heart can hold. With love always. This is from Love. A happiest birthday to Priscilla Osei. God bless you abundantly. Much love. This is from Mimi. And then we also have this glorious birthday to Priscilla Labi. May the good Lord continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do. This is from Mimi. Okay, a happy birthday to Miss Rahel. And may your heart be filled with love, your soul with peace, and your year with moments that make you truly feel alive. You mean more than words can ever say. This is from Stephen. So Yaira will do this.
Right. So this one says, happy birthday, bro. This is to Pilatu or Pilatu. Happy birthday, bro. Wishing you good vibes, big laughs, and all the success you deserve. Here's to another year of awesome memories. And it's from Steve.
All right, so Yaira Uno has a few birthday messages she would like to tell us. But yeah, I just want to say something about our birthday segment. I learn love words from birthdays. Like, this is an opportunity for people to express how they feel. And there's one person that has been doing that here in this house. James. The way James
His heart
can
is full of love.
And then Cable's man.
Yeah.
I don't even want to
Good. So this one is for our microphone, our sound guy, Mike the Micah. A happy birthday to you. You celebrated your birthday over the weekend, and from Club TV, we say happy birthday to you. We love you so much. And then to two of my friends who are actually allergic to pictures. So we have Gideon Akolo Boating and Isaac Rahine up here. I want to say happy birthday to you both. I love you so much and have an amazing year ahead.
Staying on Mike's birthday, I also want to wish you a happy birthday to you for being gentle. Whenever you are miking me, you're always gentle. You're not like your boss. A happy birthday to you.
Yes.
Right, so thank you so much for bringing in your birthday wishes. Now, Benedict Nketia Kwate is going to take us into the world of sports. A lot has been happening in that field, especially with what happened over the weekend at the Accra Sports Stadium. So, Benedict, over to you. So, what do you have for us?
Today in the world of sports, a lot has been happening, like you said. Over the weekend, we had a President's Cup that was played between Hartlepool and Asante Kotoko, and then it was wonderful. Anybody who was able to attend this game enjoyed. We all enjoyed ourselves. We had the likes of Shatta Wale, serenading us with music. We had a lot of fun. That was when we had to get a new nickname for our sitting president.
Okay, which is
Smiling Mafia.
Hey.
Yeah. And I think it connotes to him. We thank Shatawale for this kind of name because the man is really working.
He's mafiaing people while smiling.
While smiling. Anyway, viewers, welcome to the Sports Update segment. As usual, this here will bring you nothing but the best in the world of sports, and we are covering all the action, both local and international. My name is Benedict Nketia Kwate. Stay with me as we dive into the world of sport. Welcome back, viewers. Now to the main story. Hearts coach unhappy with off-season high-profile fixtures. Hearts of Oak head coach Masoud Didi Dramani has expressed concerns about the scheduling of high-profile football matches during the off-season. Dramani argues these games could negatively impact players' physical and mental health. He believes the off-season should be a time for recovery, not competitive play. The coach stated that players need rest after a demanding season and that these matches could lead to injuries and burnout. Despite his reservations, Dramani plans to use his tactical skills to manage the situation effectively. Egypt has claimed the title at the 2025 Africa Air Badminton Championships, winning gold in a team relay event on Sunday, July 6th at La Boma Beach. In a closely fought final, Egypt defeated Nigeria 60-46, showcasing superior skill and strategy. Mauritius took home the bronze. The victory secures Egypt a spot in the inaugural Badminton World Federation (BWF) Air Badminton World Cup in Sharjah, UAE this December. Nigeria also qualified for the World Cup. The event promises to feature top air badminton teams worldwide. Now to our international sports news. Chelsea is navigating UEFA's financial regulations, facing pressure to sell players. Despite earning €60 million from the World Cup, the club must balance its books to register summer signings for European competitions. A recent record fine from UEFA adds to the urgency. New arrivals, including Liam Delap and Joao Pedro, may be ineligible for UEFA competitions unless player sales offset their registration costs. Romeo Lavia and Wesley Fofana are also yet to be registered. And finally, Ricky Hatton, the former multiple world champion, is returning to boxing. The Manchester native, 47 of age, will face Issa Al-Dar in a middleweight bout on December 2nd in Dubai. The fight is a professional bout, though details on its sanctioning are pending. Hatton last fought professionally in 2012 and previously participated in an exhibition in 2022. Hatton, a former world champion at welterweight and light welterweight, had a successful career with 45 wins in 48 fights. And that is it for the sports update segment. As usual, my name is Benedict Nketia Kwating. Next is the business segment with Clement Yabankwe.
From the loudest roar of celebrations to the deafening silence of defeat, we live it here on Clock Sports. Feel every punch, every tackle, and relive all the beautiful sporting moments with us.
Mohamed Salisu pounces for Ghana.
Join us on Mondays and Fridays 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. and our big special on Wednesdays 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m.
Are you a young person?
So get ready for an unforgettable music experience on our upcoming show, Happy Hour with the Clocksack Band.
We are bringing you a night filled with electrifying tunes, good vibes, and a whole lot of fun.
Whether it's singing along, dancing, or just soaking in the atmosphere, we have something for everyone. Expect surprise performances. Join us for Happy Hour.
Get ready to rock with us. Happy Hour with the Clockside Band.
See.
Discussions surrounding employment relations, the rights of workers, the quest for industrial harmony, and evolving landscape of work. Walatu Walasa seeks to bring to bear the challenge for Walatu Walasa.
This is how we do.
To dive into the heart of entertainment. Let's Talk Stuff, where we explore the latest trends in the entertainment industry. From viral moments to hottest celebrity stars, we've got you covered. Have questions? We want to hear from you. Your voice matters. Let's vibe together.
I got a secret. Do you wanna hear it? You're always on my mind.
filled with electrifying things, good vibes, and a whole lot of fun.
Whether it's singing along, dancing, or just soaking in the atmosphere, we have something for everyone. Expect surprise performances, exclusive behind-the-scenes stories, and a chance to connect with us like never before.
Don't miss out.
So tell a friend to tell a friend.
And join us for Happy Hour.
Get ready to rock with us. Happy Hour with the Clockside Band.
Sing. I don't wanna wait.
From the loudest roar of celebrations to the deafening silence of defeat, we live it here on Clock Sports. Feel every punch, every tackle, and relive all the beautiful sporting moments with us.
Mohamed Salisu pounces for Ghana.
Join us on Mondays and Fridays 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. and our midweek special on Wednesdays 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m.
Are you a young
For in-depth discussions surrounding employment relations, the rights of workers, the quest for industrial harmony, and evolving landscape of work. Walatu Walasa seeks to bring to bear the challenges and opportunities facing the labor force today, making a significant contribution to public discourse.
My name is Edmond Akwe, your host for Walatu Walasa.
This is how we do.
to dive into the heart of entertainment. Let's Dot Stop, where we explore the latest trends in the entertainment industry, from viral moments.
Good morning, welcome to the Business Update segment. This is the Koko Digest Morning Show, and we are going to have a discussion about the 24-hour economy, which was launched on the 2nd of July 2025. It was one of the key campaign promises of the National Democratic Congress leading to the 2024 general elections, and people are saying that that was the magic. Is it really so? People have been calling for the implementation of this very policy for a very long time. But we're just going to go through some of the facts of this very document as Clock TV has gotten in touch with it. But before then, as we said, NDC top 5 campaign messages in 2024 was on the economy, unemployment, education, corruption, and health. Economy, we could see how it's performing. Unemployment, they are saying that this very policy is going to do the magic for them. We will just go into it to find out if really it is so. As at yesterday, NDC is 180 days in governance. As at yesterday, that is 7th of July. They are 180 days. And people are asking the question that have they performed well or they have not. Let's quickly move into the main issue of 24-hour economy. With 24-hour economy, they are looking at 8 integrated sub-programs, and these are they. We have the Grow 24, Make 24, Build 24. We have the Show 24, the Connect 24, Fund 24, Aspire 24, and Go 24. These are the 8 sectors they are going to pay critical attention to. When you go to Grow 24, they are talking about the agriculture for sovereignty and sustainability. That is what they are looking at. Agriculture. So as we know, agriculture is the backbone of our economy, and 24-hour economy policy is telling us that they are going to make sure that we become sustainable in terms of agriculture, and also we become very, very self-reliant in terms of agriculture. This Make 24 and talks about manufacturing. That's Ghana's industrial future. That is the manufacturing aspect of the economy. We have the Bill 24, which talks about infrastructure for integrated growth. Infrastructure for integrated growth. We have the Show 24, which basically talks about tourism. So it says culture, creativity, and tourism for national identity and jobs. So as a country, we need to let the whole world know that indeed Ghana has a very rich culture, and this is what the Show 24 stands for. Let's get to Connect 24. We know we have a lot of issues with our supply chain over the years. It has been a major issue when a lot of our private sectors are talking about it, that our supply chain is having a lot of issues, a lot of lapses. But they are telling us that supply chain and market system efficiency, this is what is going to do the magic here. That is Connect 24. This is Fund 24 in terms of funding. They said capital for inclusive and strategic investment. We'll be discussing all this into details on this very show this morning. This is Aspire 24. We have the workforce development and cultural reorientation. Yes, it's very important, because a lot of people are saying that our culture, that's our attitude to work, it's somehow not good. Is it really true? If it's true, what did the team actually look out for as in the economy to come out with this Aspire 24? Let's get to Goal 24, which is about civic engagement and government alignment. Meaning that this policy is not only just going to be a policy for policy's sake, but it's going to be about government alignment. It's going to align with anything that this government or successive governments, they are going to do. This is the estimated cost for 24-hour economy or 24-hour policy. We are looking at around $4 billion United States dollars in terms of cities. That is 41 billion Ghana cedis. This is the money we are looking out for. The question is, where are we going to get it from? But surprisingly, the people put up this document together made a provision. Let's take a look at that provision. This is what they are saying. That is the source of funding. The first one is $300 million United States dollars from government. So out of the $4 billion United States dollars that we need, government is going to give them $300 million United States dollars. That is 7%. The question is, what is this thing really going to do? Is it seed money? Is it going to go into infrastructure? What is this money going to do? As we said, we are going to digest this for you to understand it very well. And PPS and Via Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, they are also going to play a critical role. And also another interesting part is from the District Assembly Common Fund. That is $148 million United States dollars of 2025 District Assembly Common Fund for 24-hour market. This is very important because when you go to some of the districts, they deal in a lot of raw materials, a lot of productions. So at the end of the day, if they are able to produce, for example, cassava from the western region, where would they send it to? Now they are telling us that district assemblies are going to move into market for this 24-hour economy. And I think this is a very good and brilliant idea. We will be discussing all this into details. There's the approach they are going to use. The first approach is incentive, or that's incentives business participation. That is incentive that are going to provide to businesses that we have in this economy and resolve systematic constraints. We know we have a lot of issues relating to our economy, and they are saying that they are going to resolve this systematic constraint that we have in this country. So these are the two approaches they are going to use. Let's go into the incentives that the 24-hour economy policy is looking at. One, no import duties. That's so amazing. No import duties. So the aspect you are looking at for is the manufacturing equipment. So anything that you are going to bring out or bring into the country in terms of manufacturing equipment, and when you fall under the 24-hour economy, there is no import duty for you. So you're going to enjoy all this kind of reward. We have renewable energy infrastructure is also there. We have raw materials is also there. Industrial logistics infrastructure is also there. So all these things, you are not going to pay duties on them. The second thing we are looking at is no corporate tax on strategic agri-production. No corporate tax on strategic agri-production. And this strategic agri-production, like the cereals and the grains, like the maize, the rice, we have other things like the animal production. If you fall under such strategic agri-production, you are not going to pay any corporate tax. People are asking the question that, in terms of revenue, are we not going to find short of it? But I know, in the wisdom of the people who brought up this kind of document, they have made a provision for that. The third one talks about targeted VAT exemptions. We have some of VAT exemptions that if you are under 24-hour economy, you are going to enjoy. We have time of use electricity tariffs. That is, if you operate from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., you are going to enjoy some time of use electricity tariff. So you're not going to pay the same amount that people operating during the day are going to pay. You are going to enjoy free some kind of incentive in terms of tariff. And I think it's a good thing that we all need to pay attention to. The fifth one says that 2 to 6% export value rebates for exporters. So this is basically going to encourage people to export more because they're going to get close to 6% export value rebates. Let's get to the sixth point, who talks about state institutions to prioritize local goods. This is another important thing for us to look at. Because if you are encouraging manufacturers to manufacture more, if you are encouraging people to grow more, and at the end of the day, they are not patronizing made in Ghana goods, where would these goods be? But in the wisdom of the people who put up this document, they are saying that, one, state institutions to prioritize local goods. So if state institutions are going for made in Ghana goods, then you could imagine private sectors what we and also ordinary Ghanaians are going to do. The seventh one says that pop-up stores and regular trade expos. And the eighth one, it says fast-track utility and regulatory clearance. We have the ninth one, who talks about long-term, low-interest loans via Development Bank Ghana And we have finance experts also on the show who's also going to speak to this, the long-term and the low interest rate. It means, is the monetary policy rate not going to apply to this? If yes, why all these kind of incentives for the private sector? So the last one talks about easier access to cocoa beans for local processors. So this is the last thing that they are going to look at. There's another interesting incentive package also here, also in line with the corporate income tax rebate by shift model. They said if you are running 2 shifts, you're going to enjoy 25% rebate. If you are running 3 shifts, you'll be enjoying 50% rebate. So if 2 is giving you 25 and 3 is giving you 50, why wouldn't you go for the 3, but for the 2? But we'll still be discussing this into details to find out why they brought up all these things in place for us to understand. So viewers, just stay and stick with us because we are going to have a very interesting discussion on the show this very morning. We have an expert from the Secretariat is right here with us. We also have expert and financial analyst is also right here with us. I'll be joining them shortly, and when I join them, I'm going to introduce them to you. So we have the discussion into details. Don't go anywhere, just stay right here with us.
Are you
This is how we do.
welcome back. And as I said, it's a discussion about the 24-hour economy. You need to understand what is all about this 24-hour economy. Is it the magic that Ghanaians are calling for in terms of our governance structure to build more strong buffers so that at the end of the day, if there are external shocks, we are not going to run helter-skelter, or there's a different thing that we are going to do. As I said earlier, we have in studio Dr. Ishmael A. Dodu, who is the Director and Head of Innovative Finance, Partnership and Market at the Secretariat of 24-Hour Economy at the Office of the President. Good morning, Doc, and you're welcome.
Good morning.
Please, I hope you are doing very well.
Yes, doing very well indeed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We also have in studio Mr. Nelson Kujo, Kwabeji. Please, I hope I'm right.
Yes,
yes, he's the finance and tax expert and head of finance at Meban Capital Limited. Good morning, and you're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you too. We also have during the phone-in section Dr. Joseph Nchibefi, who is a vice dean and a senior lecturer at the Department of Economics and also on the campus of Akintanapia Menka University of Skill Training and Entrepreneurial Development in Kumasi, who will be joining us for the discussion as time goes by. So let's just zoom into discussion. Doug.
Yes.
Doug, you are from the Secretariat. People are asking the question that this 24-hour economic policy, before elections, we were only hearing about 3 shifts, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. But this time around, we see a whole document, and we are wondering how or like what did the magic. So we would like you to brief us what is all about this 24-hour economy in the first place.
All right. Thank you very much indeed. And first of all, I'd like to thank the viewers for giving us the opportunity to interact and engage. Also like to thank my team, the formidable team of the Secretariat under the leadership of Honorable Guzitano and also Tretre Koko and Abdul Nasser. Louis Koko, they have been very fantastic in putting together a team that is able to pull the 24-hour economic policy program document, which we just launched on the 3rd of July. So I just want to use this medium to thank them. And to thank His Excellency the President, John Dramani Mahama, for giving us this noble opportunity. I keep saying that politics is a noble cause. It's a cause to serve. And if you're given an opportunity to do it, then you must do it well. So 24-hour economy, let me take you back to how we conceived this whole policy document. You recall that during the elections, we know the vision, that the vision is to have a robust economy that is resilient and that is able to feed for itself, feed the citizens, and we address our food security challenges. Prior to the elections, I would recall around 2022, 2023, there was a huge challenge with food security up in the north, and the World Food Program actually came out with an idea. They actually predicted that if we are not very careful, we're going to have the food insecurity problem or challenges as we had in the 1980s because of the dry spell that was there. So food security became a big challenge.
Okay.
Now, what really led for us to look at the 24-hour economy is really to move beyond the vision that we have shared, and which the media also help us to do, is to the 3-shift system or a night market system. Now, these are all good ingredients of a 24-hour economy. If the economy is really producing the maximum output, is linked to the global market demands or the regional market demands, then of course there will be shifts. Of course, there will be night market, and of course, people will work around the clock in order to feed or meet demands globally.
Okay.
So it is really the picture of a Ghanaian economy that is going to run shift and run the night market. And this is the vision that really we have to sell to us. Now, as the President said, it then becomes a policy, a program, and a destination. The destination is a country which is self-sufficient, able to withstand external shocks and vulnerabilities, be able to produce to meet the food needs of its people. and generate surpluses to then give to industry for export. And in a country where all the factors of production are really maximized, we're maximizing our land assets, we're maximizing our human capital, turning them into entrepreneurs and now with skills and has the technology to be able to manipulate the global industrial setup to generate. We're looking at all the types of financing that as a country we can generate domestically and externally, leveraging our natural resources and the shared human capital prospects that we have. And then looking at, the whole idea of a country where people are reimagining things. People are using their brilliance to generate patents and, generate new ideas and creativity of how to do things. And in a country where we are manipulating all the facets of our economy, from goods, services, or to tourism and arts. So taking Ghana as it is and maximizing everything, finesse that belongs to Ghana. So the 25 economy is about, as the president shared his vision, it then becomes a construct of a unique economy in a way that is a catalyst for us to be able to start industrializing and then ramping up our exports and then looking at how we create the jobs. Because ultimately it's about job creation. Because the job situation is a crisis where you have almost 2.5 million people ages 18 to 25 that have no skills, they can't read, they can write. You have to integrate them into your economy. They are also citizens and they deserve the right to be able to use their God-given talent and skills to create value and asset for themselves so they can also become able citizens. So these are the things that really inspire us to really look at how then do we deconstruct the economy that we have. So we look at the economy that we have, we realize that this economy is an economy that is completely deformed. It's deformed because the systems of the economic structure and the systems that we inherited in the 1950s and 60s from the colonial times, we have never changed it. Somebody said that you can actually sit down and really predict how our budget is going to look like because our sectors remain very static. And so you can, when you study our budget for the past 5 years, you can actually allocate it. That is if you are looking at a budgeting system, which we saw in the last 10 years that actually have not been created. So you have to really deal with the deformity of the economy. I call it a surgical operation.
A surgical operation?
Yes, you have to be surgical. There must be something that must hurt. So you can go down to the root and pick what is wrong and fix it. So this is what we have done. So what we have done is to create constructed a new economic structure that is anti-colonial, that is necessarily Pan-African, context specific to the Ghanaian needs, looking at how to posit Ghana within the geopolitical setup and all the things that is happening in the global economy and making Ghana a stalwart and a powerful economy within West Africa, leveraging not just 33 million population prospects, but 425 million population of West Africa and about 1.3 billion population of African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. So we have to be able to get our economy in that setup. And how do we do that? We have to really look at the key pillars that will inspire this group. The first is you have to transform your production setup. Our production is from where we produce raw materials and we export, and then we import and finished goods. And even when you have a manufacturing, you don't have the technology, you don't have the skills, and so you have to import all of this. It makes manufacturing very expensive. Then you have to look at how you get quickly your products to the market to avoid 30 to 70% post-harvest losses. Now, if you grow a yam today, of 100 tubers, you lose 70 tubers. You only manage to bring 30 tubers to the market. This is not tenable. How do you feed your people? How do you then create value through the yam to create more jobs and so on? So we have to deal with supply chain market efficiency and we have to deal with our human capital strategy. In other words, How do we deal with a skilled workforce that has the right attitude and a mindset to engage in a modern, robust global economy?
Okay.
So these are the things that we look at.
It's very inspiring. But before I get to Mr. Nelson, Doc, will you say that this is a new economic plan for Ghana?
I wouldn't. Most of the things that we have given are not new.
It's not new.
Some of them are common sense. Some of them are wisdom. But what we have done is to be able to take us through a path that enables us to create a type of economy that is fit for purpose.
Okay.
All right. So I would say that it's a construct of a new economic agenda called 24-hour economy. So it's a construct of a new economic agenda that is fit for purpose, that can take us to the next level, because it responds to the current global economic structure. It affirms the colonial economy which almost all African countries have inherited, which is sell raw materials, buy the finished goods. No, we are saying we have the technology, we have the skills that are capable to do this. We want to have the reimagination. We want to create the patents here, and we want to be able to take our raw materials, add value to them, and engage the global market with made in Ghana goods.
Okay, that is very interesting. Mr. Nelson, I think you've gone through the document page by page to the end of it. I would like to find out, are you really inspired after going through the whole document?
All right, thank you very much. Good morning once again to you and our cherished viewers. Well, I think that in every economy, generally there are 4 economic policies that drive the development of that economy. The first one has to do with fiscal policy, which deals with government revenue, debts, and expenditure management. The second policy has to do with macroeconomic policy that deals with price stability, inflation, and the general quantum of money in circulation. Then the third policy has to do with exchange rate policy, whether the country will decide to go for a fixed exchange rate or a floating exchange rate system. And the very last one is the structural policy. And the structural policy, what it seeks to achieve is to structurally transform the fundamentals of an economy. As Doc rightly said, we have implemented the colonial economic model for so long a time that has not served any purpose, not only in Ghana, but the entire African continent. And so it is only prudent and economically advisable that we shift from that colonial economic model to a model that is more organic, a model that is not dependent so much on external factors. And I think one of those structural transformation programs has to do with the 24-hour economic policy. During the campaign time, what we were hearing was what you mentioned earlier, 24-hour economy, same job, 3 shifts, 8 hours. So that was the expectation of everybody, including industry players. But all of a sudden, the discussion has moved from that to a 24-hour economic plus policy, where we have all those 8 pillars under it. As I did indicate, it's all about the growth of the economy. During the launching, the president made mention of the fact that he intends to create 1.7 million jobs as a result of this policy. Me as a young man, you as a young man, you should be happy because the rate of unemployment in Ghana is so high. Every now and then, students finish universities, they finish their national service, and they come and add on to the unemployment rate in the country. And so if there is any government that is innovative, that wants to bring on board a policy that will fundamentally, structurally transform the growth of this country, I think we as citizens, we just have to accept it and support the government in that direction. Secondly, for the presentation that the president did, the program is in 2 phases. The phase 1 has to do with incentivizing the private sector, and then the phase 2 has to do with the continuous productivity process. I'm sure that is where the 8 pillars are actually located. Now, just as you presented, we have seen in this country where policies have been rolled out, but the intended objective has not been achieved. For instance, I can give you some data from the agricultural sector. In 2008, we had fertilizer subsidy program where 207 million cedis was allocated in the budget. Allocation and actual disbursement are two different, but we are talking about allocation. Then in 2000, now we have youth in agricultural program, 10 million was allocated. We have the One Village, One Dam, where 94.5 million was allocated, which was supposed to irrigate the arable lands, up north. Then we also have the famous Planting for Foods and Job Phase 1 2017, where about 560 million cedis was allocated. We also have the Planting for Food and Job Phase 2, that was in 2023, where 660 million cedis was allocated. And then currently in this year's budget, we have an agricultural policy called Agriculture for Economic Transformation Agenda, where 1.5 billion Ghana cedis has been allocated in the budget. My issue is that we have had so many policies in various sectors in this country for so long a time, but they have not yielded the needed result. For instance, if you look at the inflation data released by Ghana Statistical Service, currently inflation is at 13.7%. Yes, it's coming down 23.8 in December 2024, but the food inflation part of it is very high, which means that there is something wrong with the agricultural sector. And so if there is any policy that is intended, that is specific, that is supposed to transform the agricultural sector of the economy, I think it's a welcome, welcome news. The only challenge that or concern people are raising has to do with the incentive package that the program intends to give to those who will roll onto the 24-hour economic policy. We spent 540 million Ghana cedis on the one district, one factory. What is the results? The results now, okay? And so every year and then we allocate so much, we spend so much on policies, very brilliant policies, but the outcome has always been, a mess. What I think makes this policy different from other policies has to do with the fact that it is going to be given a legislative backing, which means that government goes, government comes. The 24-hour economic, secretariat or now authority is there to actually, continue with what the previous government has actually started. And you also realize that in this country we have problem with, I am in power today, I start a project, you come tomorrow, you abandon my project and you go. Look at the beautiful e-blocks that were dotted across the country. They were abandoned. You understand? And so what is actually giving this policy some level of credibility is the legislative backing that will support the implementation, and also the qualitative aspect of it, that is the people behind the policy. And if you look at the Honorable Guzitano, he's an experienced public servant, and when he's talking on the policy, you will know that he knows what he's talking about. So that is the qualitative part of it. So on general, we can say that the policy itself has some level of credibility. But when we go into the details, we will get to know whether the incentive packages they are giving and what we intend to achieve will actually match. Because it will not make any sense if the previous government did the same thing. They gave so much under the
1D, 1F.
Yes, the tax exemption Act 2022, I think Act 1083. They gave so many, tax exemption to businesses, but today what happens to those businesses? And so clearly, we need to look at the quantitative aspect of the policy. As at a period, how many companies have joined the program? The criteria based on which they were enrolled on the program, have they been able to meet that criteria? Because if you are giving an exemption of 10 million to a company, and the company is not able to produce, it's then you are losing out on your revenue. So these are some of the details that we look at when we
would go into the subsectors, especially the aspect of grow 24 hours. People are saying that, are we going to pay on the farming for the whole 24 hours, or how is it going to be? But Doc, before I get back to you, I would like to acknowledge Dr. Joseph Nchibefi, who is joining us through a phone section. Good morning, Doc. Hello, Doc. Hello. Okay, so we will just get Doc shortly. So Doc, let me just get back. I think we looked at some 8 subsectors, and more specifically, Grow 24, which talks about the agriculture sector. People are asking that, are the farmers going to be on? Are the farmers going to be on set for the whole period, or what actually are they going to do?
All right. So the question was, as farmers going to work 24 hours? In other words, it depends. If you are a vegetable farmer and perhaps you're using transformative agriculture farming, smart agriculture farming, or precision agriculture, and you are producing for 2 markets, one to Mali, one to Niger, and the other one to Spain, and the volumes of production is very, very high, then using that technology, green technology and net technology, net house or greenhouse technology, you can choose with a floodlight. You can choose to work overnight to meet up and catch up, because you are controlling your farming space. So with technology, yes. So I don't want to to discount that, but the notion is not that everything has to be night, right? The night comes in linked to the demands that an industry setup has got, or a production setup has got, to meet those demands, and the sheer volumes of work and productivity that's required. But it means you have to catch up working several hours. So that's where the night thing comes in, and the shift then comes in also linking to the production volumes. So I want people to understand that when you are in full bloom as a company, excuse me, and you are really producing to that scale, meeting your demand, then nobody will tell you have to work every shift. I mean, our caterers do that. Today, our caterers and those who work in restaurants, who cook for, who has services for funerals, or for weddings and so on. They do that. If you speak to them, they have several shifts. In fact, some of them tells you that they do 3 to 5 shifts. so this is the whole. But it is, that question is also very useful, because it means people are thinking about the 25 and they're positioning and looking at the things, their lifestyle that they need to adjust in order to be able to fit within the 25 economy system. And that for me is refreshing, because it means people are beginning to ask the question, how could I put value on my time to be able to create something for myself? And that's what I think is very, very important.
I think, look, I want to cross over to Dr. Joseph Nchibefi right now. Good morning, Dr. Joseph Nchibefi.
Yes.
Hello, Doc.
Hello, good morning.
Doc, please, good morning. Please, you're welcome to the show. So, Doc, we are discussing the 24-hour economy as rightly as you heard. And one of the things that they've made us understand that this is going to solve the issue of unemployment that we have in this country. Doc, I know you had a look at this whole document, and do you think that this very policy is going to give us the result that we need, especially in terms of solving the issue of unemployment we have in this country?
Why not? And good morning to your listeners. Why not? If it is well implemented, and if we have all the things that have been said in the documents and during the launching well implemented, then we can see the level of unemployment in the country falling. So the bottom line is, if And that is where the concern is. And the two speakers have all raised that concern. The implementation is the problem now. As to coming out with ideas, fantastic ideas, this policy is ambitious, and if we're able to implement it well, this economy will thrive very well. I mean, we'll all be happy to see a continuous growth in our economy. But the bottom line is, can this be implemented properly? Because we have seen promises over the years, promise to transform economy that has failed completely. So I cannot draw the line between this promise and all the other promises that has failed because of various reasons. And if I sit back and look at this policy, what do mean we've not gotten there? They wait for the 4 years to know whatever has been done. But the promise, the requirement of $4 billion actually shook me. And from there, I realized that maybe this is one of those promises that may fail. $4 billion and initial seed capital, seed money of $300 million. Well, if it fails, then we will say that we didn't get the money to implement. That's why it failed. Do you remember one district, one factory, and this hospital project?
Agenda 111.
Agenda 111.
Yeah. But are you there? I would like to ask this quick question. Hello, Doug. Yeah, so Doug, you made a point on the issue of implementation. So in your own opinion, since you are an economist, what do you think the government should do in terms of implementation so that at the end of the day it won't be like the other policies that we have witnessed over the years in the country?
I think government should look at those aspects that can be implemented with minimal bottlenecks. Aspects like, for example, the port running 24 hours. I think that is within the reach of government to do it within 2-3 months. I may be wrong. And so those things government can touch on and actually implement. I think they should go ahead and do that. To leave part of the implementation with the private sector is where I have a problem. Because even if the private sector produces throughout the night and there is no market for it, what is the essence of the production? And so I think that government should look at parts where it has direct control and influence and actually make those parts work. And we may luckily have some rippling effect. So if a government road contractor, a government gives a contract to a road contractor to build the road, for example, it can be part of the conditions that this road contractor should have the capacity to work 24 hours.
Okay.
In those instances, government has a direct control over the policy implementation.
Okay.
So that those things we can actually see those things work. But when the individuals begin to see that the ports are running 24 hours, roads are being constructed 24 hours, and those things, that will also have a rippling effect throughout. Because if I know that my business sits on the road that is being constructed 24 hours, then I may be ready to also run 24 hours to sell to those people who are constructing the road along the line.
Okay.
And so I think that government should look at those ones that it has direct control and influence, and begin to work on it.
Okay.
Then we will begin to see a rippling effect. Because definitely, if there's a road contractor who is building a road 24 hours, there will be policemen around. They see that there are police cars around, and then be ready to also sell throughout the night to these individuals who are constructing roads.
Okay.
And so that is the point of implementation where I think government should look at more. Even though government can rope in the private sector, if government takes up the mandate and people begin to see how government is operationalizing its own thoughts, then individuals, having observed what government is doing, will follow suit.
Okay, so Doc, before I just come back to Doc in studio, I think per information we have, Ghana Publishing Company is on 24-hour shifts already. Our service. I know of Ghana Passports who want to equally go on 24-hour service, and Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority is also on the point of running 24-hour service. So, Doc, thank you for that submission. Doc, I'll get back to you before I get to the funding aspect. You touched on the growth 24 hours. We have the issue of the MIC. I think that is another major concern that people want to understand. So could you just touch a little bit on the MIC 24 hours in terms of the infrastructure in the industry?
All right, a quick one to also thank Prof on the line for the point that he made.
Okay.
I mean, this is what we are looking for. We want to have the national debate, and also people will provide strategic ideas about how we can make this journey, we can arrive at this journey very quickly.
Okay.
And so he touched on a big point around quick wins, and I want to say that our mode of implementation is looking at it sequentially.
Okay.
All right. So there are the enabling environment that needs to happen. We talk about the ports and harbors, the security sectors, the various government functionaries that are providing services to citizens. All of them are in 24-hour mode at the moment. GIPC, for example, has launched 24-hour premium services for investors who want to come in, and GEPA as well. Then industry are beginning to position themselves for us. So in terms of sequence, the enabling environment and the structure, security and all of that will be made. Then the other is also looking at the anchor farmers, those who are already producing for the country, but they need to scale up. And they also have the model, they have their market that they need to scale up. In fact, there are those who have signed contract with, so for example, poultry farmers have signed contract with KFC, and they produce 30% of what KFC needs. So there's a market there. Then when we talk about the market, our food import alone is almost $2.5 billion, which means there's a market for $2.5 billion of food in this country. If we can produce half of it, we already would have minimized the import and save about $1.2 billion, $1.25 or $1.3 billion. That would translate into revenue that can be taxed, that would translate into some tariffs, that would translate into jobs. So these are also some quick wins that we need to look at. Yeah, but back to your question, if you remind me.
On the issue of MIC 24.
So MIC 24 has to do with how we take production and transform it in ways that we produce made in Ghana goods here. Having looking at the raw materials that we have and linking that into manufacturing. As you know, the whole program is an integrated value chain. Within that setup, we're looking at agri-processing, manufacturing of fabrication of materials, construction materials, and we're looking at pharmaceuticals and textiles and garments. So these are within that. The idea is that we link our raw materials. We have the opportunity now, for example, in the pharmaceuticals to produce the generics, to produce some some materials that we normally would have imported. All right, vaccination materials and all of this. We have the technology and we have the opportunity to do that. And there is a global offtake for some of these things. So it is to invest into these areas. Now there are two key things you will see. You will see a machine center in Ashanti region. That will be catering towards professionalizing the magazine and others into producing the industrial machines that are needed, or the farm implements or basic equipment that are needed in agro-processing facilities. We're also going to have a pharmaceutical center where they are going to look at how to turn these generics, produce some of the drugs that we can actually produce at a cheaper cost, so that you make access to quality health very cheaply and accessible to us. Linked to that will be some of the offtakes on our NHIS and so on, and our hospitals. But at the same time, we're also producing for the West African hub.
Okay.
So the manufacturing is looking at all these productive sectors and establishing industrial parks, agroecological parks, where manufacturing and minimal processing can happen. And all of this linked, again, because it's integrated, you not just manufacture, you manufacture to standards. So they all will conform to ISO 9000 standards or EU regulations, or the markets that we want to access. They will produce already to standards. So the idea is to conform the behavior of industry end to end across the integrated within the value chain, so that they are all conform to global standards of production that can meet exportable requirements.
Thank you very much. I would like to go to Mr. Nelson. People watching want to know, how's the funding going to be? How is financing? If a private sector player wants to involve himself or herself into 24-hour economy, how is the funding going to be? And integrated, we saw one of it being the Fund 24-hour. So we'd like you to touch on that aspect for us, and we quickly also look at aspects of no corporate tax, another great issue we'd like to look at. So the fund gap that we have.
All right, so let me take it from the exemption point of view, and then I scale it up to the funding. As I did indicate earlier, it is not just sufficient to give exemptions to companies just for giving exemptions sake. We have said in this country that during the erstwhile administration under the 1D1F, companies were turned overnight into participatory companies under the one district, one factory, where huge exemptions were given to them. And most of these companies actually belong to some of the people who are close to the regime. When it happens that way, then you are trying to evade tax. Okay. And so, if you look at the document, with all the incentives that, because before a company can join the scheme, it is the incentives that will motivate the company to come. The government is saying that if it wants to import equipment for the purposes of manufacturing under the policy, there will be zero import duty. They also intend to give corporate income tax CIT to some strategic agricultural ventures. They equally wants to give a 25% rebate for two, as you rightly said now, which means that Clock TV, if you run a shift system, then it means you qualify under the program. Is that because some of you come in the morning, others come in the afternoon. And if you run a three-shift system, then that will be 50% rebate. So it means that when your chargeable income is, let's say, 100 Ghana, you end up paying 50 Ghana as a result of the three-shift that you run. Then it went on and even said discounted electricity. So I think this one they've been mentioning during the campaign time that, okay. So my issue has always been the fact that when you keep on giving exemptions to companies and the result is not what you expect, you are creating a revenue gap.
Okay.
You understand? The question is, how then will you finance the revenue gap? Because every year, if you have a budget deficit, you have to increase your debt level because the deficit must be financed from borrowing. And so I think they should proceed cautiously as to the criteria that they will use in, bringing on board the private sector. If not, we'll try to solve one problem, then we end up creating another problem. That has to do with the exemption and incentivizing the private sector that wants to join the program. Already, there are companies that are operating under the free zones, and they are enjoying so many benefits. So a company under free zones may also want to join the 24-hour economic policy because there are some incentives here. Once we are losing, and most of these companies don't go strictly according to the regulation because they are supposed to export, I think, about 70% of their production outside the country. But some of them, they don't do. But they continue enjoying the benefit under the free zone. And so some of them them may also want to come under the 24-hour economy policy, enjoying the benefit there, and then enjoying the benefit under the 24-hour. So government is losing at both ends. So they have to proceed cautiously, make sure that the criteria they will use for bringing the private sector on board, they are continuously monitored to make sure that they achieve or they meet that strict, criteria, in order for government not to lose on their revenue.
Okay, so a quick one, in your own opinion, what criteria do you think they should adopt?
Well, they could use number of people that they employ, and so the criteria could be, okay, after you have worked under the policy for a year, we expect you to employ this number of people, decent job, permanent employment. We also want you to produce this quantum of whatever you are producing. And we also want you to remit back, or let's say 60% of your production must be exported. Because no matter the situation, we are still looking for forex in order to calm down the BP that is actually catching the CD. And so we need the forex. So these are some of the criteria that they can use to pick on board the various companies. The most important thing is, one, we want to create 1.7 million jobs. We want to grow our economy, and we want the growth to be organic, which is not dependent on any external shocks. As it stands now, when the prices of gold goes down, we are doomed. When the prices of cocoa goes down, we are doomed. When the price of crude goes down, we are doomed. And so this policy, from my understanding, is organic. It's not dependent on any external shocks. When you build your economy around these factors, whatever geopolitical external shocks that may happen, your economy will be resistant to those shocks.
Okay, so
I just want to tap into also comment, Nelson, for some of the ideas that you put together. This is really the thinking around the tax and incentive regime that we have put together, addressing the issue of decent jobs and going to the extent of defining what decent jobs will be. Because part of the program is looking at Aspire 24, building skills, linking them to industry. So how you are able to take some of those jobs, those skills that we have created, and also industry really churning out the type of skills that they need to inform the Aspire 24, the TVETs, and all the things that we're looking at. And then the whole idea of making sure that the incentive regimes is performance-based. You deliver certain things and you continue to enjoy the incentives. If you do not, then you do not enjoy the incentives and it can be revoked. So it is not a sine qua non that's really fait accompli. But when you do it, you're just going to have it. This is strict performance-based. There's also monitoring of that incentive regime, where what we are doing is to organize production and processing, aggregation, and all the value chain. So we know the players that are within the ecosystem that have enjoyed this, and then the constant monitoring of the extent to which they deliver what they have subscribed to on the incentive side. So there's that is going to happen. I think it's also a debate, as Guzi said. This is an organic program. This is something we are building. So whereas we are informed by other experiences and our own personal experiences, where we learn from and the expertise that we put together, as we go along, there will be other things that we will be learning. So there is a continuous learning cycle process within the implementation strategy. Our implementation will really give us the KPIs. In 1 year, how many tons we're producing to meet local demand and meet exportable raw materials. How many exports we're going to make in order to bring the forex. So that at the end of the day, we're able to attribute the 24-hour economy, the entire 24-hour economy programs, their strategic contribution to GDP, so that we can hold ourselves accountable. I mean, this conversation is very, very wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to cross over to Dr. Joseph Ntribefi to respond to this for me. Hello, Doc.
Yeah, hello. I'm still on the line.
Okay, Doc, thank you very much. We're looking at aspects of incentive and, for example, this no import duty for some equipment that is going to be imported for the sake of the 24-hour economy. And Mr. Nelson made a point of the revenue gap that is going to be created. And we know in the preparation of this document, they equally made provision that there's going to be a tax or an import of 2.5% import levy on certain products like processing things and also like cosmetics. That is things that can be produced locally. If you turn out to import it from outside country into Ghana, there's going to be additional 2.5 on it, all in the mind to bring this money to be able to bridge the revenue gap that is going to be created for the no corporate income tax that is going people are going to enjoy. Do you think that the 2.5 import duty levy that will be introduced for such products would actually solve the problem, or the revenue gap that is going to be created by the no corporate tax thing we are going to enjoy in the 24 hours economy?
Yeah, I will answer that question, but quickly let me go back to the point I made quickly, because I'm not in the studio. Quickly let me go back to the point I made. A learned colleague from the Secretariat mentioned some few government institutions that wants to go 24 hours. My thought is not just a few government institutions, it's on the scale. It's on a large scale. So for security and surveillance, for example, the DNI can go 24 hours. Ghana Railway Corporation can go 24 hours. Electricity Company of Ghana, Ghana Water Company, Ghana Gridco can also go 24 hours. National Development Planning Commission. This is what I'm saying, the DVLA, and all those institutions. So that I can wake up at 2 a.m. and go and register my car and come and sleep. Knowing that in the following morning I can do other things. I don't have to spend almost 3 hours in the queue going to just register a car. The registrar general, that registers company can also go. If you go there during the daytime, you see the number of people who have come around to register. So that is the scale. The scale at which government can actually implement this, and individuals seeing what government is doing will have a written effect. Okay. Quickly to your question, I do not know which research that has gone into the provision of the 2.5% on import levies on some goods that can make up for the revenue gap. I don't know how much corporate income tax can give us. I don't know how much that 2.5% can give us. If we can fill the gap, then I feel that that's a brilliant idea. Okay. Based on research. Okay. If you cannot, then we may have to go back again. Because already I mentioned that I have a problem with the funding of the 4 billion. It's as if the government is trying to offer an excuse for failure. Because we have known that any of these policies will fail on the backdrop of funding. So the issue is that government will tell us, oh, we failed because there was no funding. We failed because there was no funding. I was looking at the point where government will put in this 4 billion, tell us how government hoped to raise the 300 million to fund the project, and how private sector, private-public partnership can fill in that gap of the cost of the project. Okay. I am yet to get that. Maybe a doctor from the Secretariat can answer to that.
Yes.
But
yes.
I have a problem if we just throw numbers when we have not conducted accurate research into how much the corporate income tax can give us, and how much this 2.5% levy can also give us. Okay. For us to be sure that we are closing the gap, and not just because we want to just put something there, we put this 2.5%. So I have a problem. In fact, when I go through it, one of my biggest problems is the revenue shortfalls because of all these incentives that we are giving out. the revenue shortfall. That is where my problem now lies.
Okay, so Doc,
because we tend to be giving out so much, but we cannot foresee the rippling effect of whatever we are giving out.
Okay, Doc, please, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm still on the line.
Yes, we'll be going for a short commercial break, but before then, I would like you to respond to this quickly. In your own opinion, what should the government do? If the government is not giving incentive in terms of this no corporate tax, no import duty, to have this issue of revenue gap, what do you think could be the possible solution to this issue?
My point is that it is only through these incentives that you can rope in the private sector.
Okay.
That's my point.
Okay.
It's only through these incentives that you can rope into the private sector.
Okay.
But at what point should we peg the incentivization policy?
Okay.
Is the decision based on research, or the decision is just based on political expediency? Or we just want to make the program work. Let's throw something out there to just get people on board.
I think Doctor will be responding to this as rightly as you said. But before then, yes, we will just go for a short break, and when we come back, Doctor will respond to this for us to understand what kind of research Australia has gone into this kind of projection that they are making. So viewers, don't go anywhere, just stay right here with us. We'll be right back just after this short break.
In a world where neutrality in the civil service is paramount, Ghana finds itself at a crossroad.
Clause says that a certain action should be taken, but government has to act on the basis of law. So we inquired as to what the premise for that demand is.
They say if you wish to broadcast or otherwise manifest your political allegiance or run political office, step away from the services. This is Supreme Court talking. It's not Closer speaking or Isaac Bampado speaking. This is the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court judgment on the landmark case of Clockside versus the Attorney General has set the stage for a profound transformation. Introducing Reset in the Civil Service. Tune in to be part of this change, because a better civil service means a better Ghana.
I find it refreshing always when I remind myself of the profound statement by the eminent civil servant, Mr. Anankwa of blessed memory, to the effect that it is the perfection of the civil servant that will move this country forward, and not the politician.
Discussions surrounding employment relations, the rights of workers, the quest for industrial harmony, and evolving landscape of work. Walatu Walasa seeks to bring to bear the challenges and opportunities facing the labor force today, making a significant contribution to public discourse.
My name is Edmond Akwe, your host for Walatu Walasa.
Are you a young person?
welcome back to the Koko Digest Morning Show. We are still discussing the 24-hour economy. How is it really going to be like? And the big question is it the magic Ghanaians are expected? And looking at how discussions are going, you could make your own decision out of this. We have a few comments. This is from Seth Afram. He said, hello, good morning, please. I'm watching you live from Kumasi, Kenton Chrono. Please, many of us don't understand the 24-hour economy. Yes, that is why we are here. That is why we are here to break it down for you to understand. That is why we have the director himself from the Secretariat, who is here with us to explain it more to us. So just always keep sure you are with Clock TV, and we bring you all the details of 24-hour economy. So, Doc, I would like to just respond quickly to Dr. Joseph Nchubefi.
Yes, Professor Nchubefi. Thank you very much. You raised a very important point. What I can say immediately is that, and I can confirm that, and perhaps even affirm that the incentives that we have announced after the launching is not based on political expediency at all. This is something that we have thought through it robustly, and it's an outcome of extensive debate and conversations and empirical research from academia and his professors of finance and economics in University of Ghana, Legon, Cape Coast, and so on, for Center for Policy Research, Ghana Statistical Services, and a range of economists who have worked with us sat down to really look at the incentive regime. And we also discussed with industry. So we have FAGE, the Exporters Association, and the industrial sectors manufacturers who are in the free zones and special economic zones. And also it was informed by what we have seen in other countries. We were looking at Vietnam, we were looking at how China made it, we were looking at other countries also, countries such as Africa, some African countries that have been, from Kenya, for example, that are into big-time exports of tea and coffee and so on, and how they arrive here. So all these things inform the level of incentives and a structure. And as Guzi said, what we intend to do is we do, as it were, the implementation strategy is co-creating as we move on. Because this is also a new thing. And when you really need to transform, then it is painstaking process, which means that every decision that you make has to be properly interrogated with the stakeholders and plow back the decisions as you move on. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And now let me look at the fund structure.
Yes.
Now, the architecture we have put together, and as Prof. Edworku said, if the incentives are right, then the private sector will fill in the gap. The 400 million with 7%, 100 million is institutional support for coordination and the structuring of the authority that goes in. You need to have and this is over 4 years. You really need to have the needed skills. You need to have the needed operational setup and engage and strategy to be able to appropriate structure fit for purpose, be able to run such an operation of such magnitude nationwide. So we need to do that. Then the 300 million is really what we call a viability fund. Now, in private sectors that we are discussing, I'll share a number of them, they need to see government skin in the game. So this announcement of the viability gap, the seed fund, is very, very critical because then it shows that the country is very serious and that we know what we want to do. Now, as the President said, it is just to stimulate and create an enabling environment for everybody, for the private sector to come in. And I really like Prof. Nchubefi's point about the scale in which government must show seriousness. All ministries, departments, agencies, municipalities, the extent to which they can go 24 hours, they have to move. And that is the conversation we're having, and that's what we are doing and pushing. Now, the funds, come to the funds structure.
The civil servants, if we need to go 24 hours, we are supposed to go.
The Go 24 is targeting bureaucracy. We need to streamline our bureaucracy. Today, if you are going to export anything, you have to follow 16 different steps. by the time you finish your, you quantify how much, you become non-competitive to the destination of export. So how do we streamline a one-stop shop where an exporter will put in his documents and everything will be, will be streamlined? So bureaucracy has to change. Our attitude has to change. The skills that we need to have in order to deliver with agility and speed, all of them has to change. In other words, we have to reset our bureaucracy as well. In order for private sector to make sense for private sector, this is how the Chinas and others have been able, and Singapore's, they've been able to make it. So back to the fund, because this is private sector driven, there are two different aspects to the fund, the papers and the enterprise financing. Before a private sector will move in, so for example, before, and we are talking to people who want to surface and produce garments. I'm talking about the TM Lewins, the Tony Hilfigers, the Polo Assassin shirts, and the things that we admire. They want to relocate here to be able to set up. What they will need is you deal with your energy infrastructure, so there's reliability and predictability. You deal with the incentive package and your taxes. You make sure that your rule of law is top-notch, is working hard, working well. You make sure that each and every one of the bureaucracy is there. They can clean, setting up a business, it's good to go. Water, and so on. And human capital, and how they can be moving their machine, and how they can actually tap into the labor force cheaply to make sure that the cost of production is competitive so that they move here. So you need basic infrastructure. And this infrastructure are also services that the private sector can move in to do it. So somebody we are talking to, those who are interested, to come in with an equity fund or debt capital or some type of funds through an SPV to set up an industrial park for these machines, these industries to move in, to start operating. We're also looking at people who are talking to us about the agroecological parks, a one-stop shop of the production. So you have in aggregate scale. You have an anchor farmer with maybe 10,000 hectares of maize production, and then you have 4,000 farmers who are producing and aggregating them into an agroecological park. That you need to do them irrigation infrastructure. You need to have the energy requirement. You need to have the water for them. You need to have the cold store chain. You need to have the warehousing. You need to guarantee provision of extension services. And you need to guarantee energy that would enable them to use technology and so on. So these funds are mobilized through special purpose vehicle. Now the enterprising fund is going to come as a concessional loan, coming to the SMEs, to the industry. We are leveraging these loans through the Development Bank of Ghana. So that it becomes a development financing to stimulate energy and to stimulate private sector, provide the patient capital. You need patient capital for private sector to grow. So provide that patient capital. So the DBG infrastructure is Ghana Investment Infrastructure Fund, which lends itself also to a special type of financing. At the same time, the SME fund, SME enterprises, it's DBG, so that we negotiate this a concessional, and then it is held. It becomes a product which is held in a sandbox of the Bank of Ghana. And then it is given a forbearance on the PFIs, so that it is deregulated on their leisure. This enables us to create the patient capital, hedge our forex, and at the same time make sure that they also get a concessional rate below. We're targeting something below 10%. Which is significant because it's almost one third of the commercial rate.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dodu. I would like Mr. Nelson to come in shortly because he will be leaving us in just a few minutes. In terms of funding, DOG has been able to touch on certain aspects of it. In the additional support, we saw this policy listing out long-term and low interest rates. That is loan access for this private sector, so whoever wants to be under this 24-hour economy. When you go through the document, we have a particular rate that the interest rates will not go beyond.
I think it was 12%.
Yeah, 12%.
Yes.
So being in the industry, how do you foresee that? Is this going to be feasible?
Well,
is it really going to...
Bank of Ghana, monetary policy rate is at 28%. And lending rates generally in Ghana, very high. So if the government intends to route something through the Development Bank Ghana to be given to the SMEs that will participate within the policy at that rate, I think it's laudable. One of the challenges that we have had in this economy has to do with high lending rate. So a businessman is having the capacity to increase his productive capacity, but because the funding is not there, they produce below what their capacity can actually do. And so if the 12% is something that they have simulated and they have seen that, okay, to be good for the SMEs, why not? My only issue, which I even said on CTTV the last time, was that looking at how ambitious the whole 24-hour economy program is, will the $4 billion be enough? Because if you read the entire document, it will be as if once this 24-hour economic policy is implemented, Ghana's economy will transform. The question is, will $4 billion be able to transform this economy? That's the first question. And so I made mention of the fact that looking at how ambitious the program is, I don't think $4 billion is adequate. As he said, policy implementation, you have to start. Then along the way, you do adjustments. You assess the impact on the people that you want the policy to affect. And so for the funding, it will be too early to actually tell whether it will be enough or not enough. Secondly, he said they have done some simulation in terms of the funding. In fact, the 2.5%, as I did indicate before we came on air, you cannot actually predict the number of companies that will join the program. And so if you cannot actually project the number of people who will come onto the program, then it becomes difficult to also project the quantum of exemption that you may give.
Okay.
Then it may also be difficult to also project the quantum of revenue gap that the program will create as a result of the exemption regime. And so it is only prudent that as and when the program is being rolled out, then they try as much as possible to monitor it and see if the financing arrangement that they have done will be enough. But one of the areas I think they can leverage on has to do with the pension funds.
Okay.
In fact, as an investment banker and somebody who works directly with pensions products, it is projected that by the end of the year, the asset under management of pensions will hit about 100 billion Ghana cedis. And the program is around 41 billion.
Yeah.
So it means that at least you can also leverage on some domestic financing models.
Yep.
So I think the pension industry is an area that they have to look for in terms of financing.
Okay.
Well, there are so many asset management companies that are doing well over 500, 200 million, 300 million, even so much liquidity in the system, so much. In fact, I'm sure the reason why Bank of Ghana keeps on draining liquidity from the system in order to tame down inflation. So pension fund is one of the areas that they can look for to get, patient capital for the implementation of this. In any case, the retirement age in Ghana is 60 years.
Yeah.
And so if let's say I am 30 or 29 years, and you are taking my pension fund to inject into a viable program that will transform this economy, I think it's a laudable idea. So pension fund is also another area. My last comment has to do with the energy that will support the program. We have witnessed doomsday in this country for so long a time. Currently, the energy demands of the country cannot satisfy households and businesses.
Yeah.
And now that we are adding on a mega project, do we have the energy capacity to speak? Because when we are talking about everything 24 hours, people will be working in the night. They need electricity. The energy sector is saddled with so much debt. Can we have that continuous, uninterrupted powers to actually, support the 20? Because once it's 24 hours, it's 360. People will work throughout the night. They need light. Do we have the capacity? So I think the energy sector is one of the areas that I'm sure it has been considered already because of the second gas project that the government intends to do. So my final comment is that the program is good, the program is ambitious. If it is well implemented, it will actually transform the economy. But the success of the program depends on two things. One, involvement of the private sector, and two, government ability to commit and honor its obligation, in the entire program. Because if government is not able to honor its part, government is not able to create the enabling environment, then the private sector may not be encouraged to come in, and that may not augur well for the entire program.
So thank you very much. I want to bring Dr. Bayfi shortly to this before we end the discussion on 24-hour economy. Hello, Doc, please, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Yes. So, Doc, before we end the conversation, we'd like to know what is your last word on 24-hour economy? What would you say that the Secretariat should take a critical look at in terms of implementation and also the private sector participation?
Yes, I must say that I've been very impressed with is it Dr. Diodu?
Yes.
I don't know whether, yes. With his explanation, I'm happy that this has not turned into a political program, but he's able to speak to the issues and address most of the issues people in academia, industry are raising. I'm very happy, and I hope that he continues like that. My only issue, starting from where Dr. Nelson left off, is with the energy. Sometimes I get confused whether to put infrastructure before the policy or the policy before infrastructure. It's like a chicken and egg situation. We develop our infrastructure before we start with the policy, or let's start with the policy and so that we will develop our infrastructure. Because the point is that if there is no electricity, there is no energy. So what happens if I go to work, if I'm a government worker, I go to DVLA to work and there's lights out. So I know they have a lot of things to think about, and I believe that this should also be one of the main issues. So that the reason around how to get sustained energy over a period of time. I know energy sector debt and all that are issues that are lingering, but some of these issues are so important that it becomes the foundation for the policy to thrive. So they should look at that. In all, the policy is a very good policy. I'm hoping that all the operational aspects like industrial park, 24-hour economy, go 24 hours, governance through 24 hours, I'm hoping that those things can be put in place immediately. So that the private sector will always maintain that the private sector will look at what government is doing and react. The government shows a lot of seriousness within 6 months. Things are working so quickly. Almost everything you can touch on in governance is being run 24 hours. Then the private sector will react to it. So let us hope that the policy works. A very good policy. I know that all the students I'm teaching, when they complete school, there's a job waiting for them somewhere. They don't have a piece of mind. Can't wait to use.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that the implementation side goes as Dr. Diodu has been able to explain, and that we will not have a talk shop where we do things nicely, we say things nicely, and later it becomes a complete failure. I'm hoping, I'm praying that Dr. Diodu and your team work very hard to implement this thing, and we all very be happy in this country.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joseph Ntwebefi, Vice Dean and Senior Lecturer, Department of Economics, Akintampia Menka University of Skill Training and Entrepreneurial Development. Thank you so much, Doc. I thank you for the sake of our time. Doc, we will have you next time to do this same discussion because we are not done. This 24-hour economy discussion, we will take it another day. Because especially the sub-sector, we're able to touch on just 3 or 4 of them. Yes, and we have other sectors to touch on. But before, Doc, you come in and we end, a few comments. This from Facebook. HM Joe says that good discussion. I think the 2.5 import tax duty on other products is small. It should be higher, like 10% or more, to totally deter these importers of these goods. Doc, this is our submission. So, Doc, before we go, your final words.
Yeah, finally, just thank you very much. It has been a constructive discussion, and this is the type of debate that we want to have, to really look at the program and give us some contrasted criticism, but also prefer some solutions that are very helpful. Very quickly, Nelson talked about the pension funds, which they are one of our strategic partners. But beyond that, we're also looking at other types of innovative financing streams, from climate finance, from diaspora bonds, looking at SDG bonds, looking at others relating to remittances and how we use it more cleverly. But there's also securities as well that are a source of funds and support that we want to tap into, because the entire value chain is going to be placed under special purpose vehicles. So this then lends itself for private sector to pick and choose and be able to put in and fund it. So Ghanaians need to be interested in getting involved in some of these special purpose vehicles, so that we own the prospects and the prosperity of these. And I want to say thank you. The energy, quickly, we are mindful of the energy, the criticality of the energy source. And the model that we are using is embedded solutions. This is a model that has worked in some of the places where we have looked at examples, especially Vietnam and others, and even recently in Nigeria. There are agro-ecological park that they have developed there. So the embedded solution will generate the energy within the parks and to then sell as an offtake to the manufacturers or the processors. So they're using solar particularly, and also energy, waste to energy. Then there's an element on, of course, the grid as well. So there's an energy mix within that and biogas. And so whichever is stronger could become the base load to allow for the reliability of the energy. So in the end, if we succeed, we'll actually be growing energy, and that would then add on to what Ghanaian needs. But there are those who will produce much more than the megawatts. It's between 5 to 15 megawatts per agroecological park. And some may need maybe 10 megawatts. So the 5 megawatts can then be sold through the grid to address some of our energy needs. So this is how we are organizing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ishmael Dodo. Mr. Nelson, your final words.
Well, as I did indicate, I'm very happy when he said that most of the stakeholders were consulted during the process up to where we are now. Because when we are rolling out a policy and those who matter for the policy to succeed are not consulted, it creates all kinds of back and forth. So I'm very happy he mentioned AGI and some other relevant stakeholders, because the success and the failure of this policy is dependent on two things. One, bringing along stakeholders, and two, government-owned commitment towards the program.
Exactly. Thank you very much. So the success of this policy dependent on two things: bringing along the the stakeholders, and also government involvement in this very policy implementation. And this discussion has been about understanding the 24-hour economy. And I know you've got to understand something. When you say grow 24, I know you've got to understand. And I have been your host for this show, that is Clement Yabanukwe. And I've been doing this with Dr. Ishmael Dodo, the Director and Head of Innovative Finance, Partnership and Market at the 24-Hour Secretariat, the Office of the President, and Mr. Nelson Kojo Kwabeji, please, am I right? Yes. So finance and tax expert and head of finance at Meban Capital Limited, and also Dr. Joseph Nchibefi, Vice Dean of Akintana Menka University of Skill Training and Entrepreneurial Development. We are not done with this conversation. We'll be continuing moving, talking to private sectors to know, are they ready for the implementation of this 24-hour economy? So don't go anywhere. Always stick with Clock TV. We'll bring you all what you are supposed to know about 24-hour economy. Thank you so much for staying with us, and keep watching Clock TV. All what we want to say is have a nice day.
unclogged TV. Beyond the policy.